Chapter 381, With Everyone, 5. I first roamed around the village to gather information. First, half of this village's residents are followers of the Wuji religious order. Among them are my comrades, John Myung-hoon, Kim Yun, Buk Hyang-hwa, Yun Wei, and Yun Jin. To find the rest of my comrades, I will likely need to visit other villages. The place I landed is called Penglai. Penglai is approximately the size of India on Earth, and the 400 million followers of the Wuji religious order who entered Penglai all fell as citizens of Penglai Kingdom. It is estimated that the population of Penglai Kingdom is around several hundred million. Of course, this is just an estimate. It's possible that not all are humans, but have been reborn as beasts, demon spirits, or even real ghosts. This Penglai Kingdom is divided into a central capital and 7 provinces nationwide besides the capital. Each province is divided into 10 prefectures, and each prefecture is followed by more than 10 counties and districts, with villages as the unit below the districts. And this village I am in is one such unit. This village's name is Tai Village, Tichun. Yun Wei's husband, Tae-won, is the village head and local authority, known by the nickname Old Gentleman Nalbu. John Myung-hoon, Yun Wei's younger brother, seems to be called Hungbu's, meaning Hungbu's household, due to being a relative of Nalbu's family. It seems to be influenced by the folk tale and the memories of me, John Myung-hoon, and Kim Yun. TL/N. Hungbu and Nalbu is a Korean story written in the late Joseon dynasty. Except that Hungbu and Nalbu are on good terms in this world. John Myung-hoon has a harmonious relationship with his wife Jin So-hae, and they have 12 children. Gentleman Nalbu Han-won is a good husband who listens well to Yun Wei, and thus takes good care of John Myung-hoon, Yun Wei's younger brother. Moreover, John Myung-hoon is also diligent in managing the household with Jin So-hae, so he rarely has to ask them for help. Buk Hyang-hwa and Kim Yun are stepsisters due to Kim Yun's father remarrying a stepmother with a daughter. Kim Yun's father passed away early, and while the stepmother heavily favors Buk Hyang-hwa and Kim Yun have a good relationship, much like a distorted version of Kangjui and Pachwi. TL/N, another Korean folk tale. Then, am I also a protagonist in a folk tale? But what kind of folk tale features a charcoal seller as the protagonist? Despite pondering deeply, I can't recall any folk tale involving a charcoal seller as the protagonist. Should I carry Kim Yun on my back and go around slaying demons? With such idle thoughts, I walk around the village once and then head to the back mountain, approaching the charcoal kiln, the workplace of the charcoal seller So Eun-hyun. Upon casual inspection, the charcoal kiln appears neglected, with various parts on the verge of collapsing, clearly showing that charcoal seller So Eun-hyun hadn't taken care of it properly. Did they say he always produced poor quality charcoal? Moreover, charcoal seller So Eun-hyun would sell his low-quality charcoal to earn a pittance, which he would then spend in the neighboring Seoul village, indulging in drinking, dancing, and gambling with a local named So Dong, Cow Dong. As a result, he has no savings. Was he just a hopeless case? Sighing, I pick up a rusty axe lying next to the kiln. I thought about selling the charcoal kiln to raise money and leave for another village. But who would buy this kiln? I shake my head in dismay. What a fool. No wonder he was poor, sticking to a low-selling business like charcoal. In this era, the best way to make money is by selling soap. Selling charcoal? That's foolish. I open the charcoal kiln. It's filled with a thick layer of ash. If I could get some oil and turn all that ash into soap. Old memories surface, making my hands start itching. I want to make soap right away. TSK, this is not it. Shaking off the temptation of starting a soap business, I begin searching beneath the kiln, recalling the memories of charcoal seller So Eun-hyun. Found it. I find a fire poker beneath the kiln. Its pointed end makes it seem useful as a weapon. Holding the axe and poker, I venture into the forest. According to Yuk Rin's exploration logs, the way to gather comrades within this formation is not to foolishly wander around the 7 provinces, but rather making them come to you. And the best way to summon comrades is by building achievements. In this world, accomplishing something worthy of note will gradually raise one's status, and those I seek would appear before me. According to the memories of charcoal seller So Eun-hyun, there's a demon spirit living on the mountainside beyond the back mountain of Tai Village. Every night, the demon spirit would come down from the mountain to devour livestock, and at times, even humans, causing constant anxiety among the villagers. Only someone shunned by the village, like the charcoal seller, would dare go up the back mountain. I decided to first meet the demon spirit at least once. The demon spirit could also be a comrade, and more importantly, I need to gauge the level of demon spirits in this world. The only significant threat in this world seems to be demon spirits. Apart from them, the likes of soldiers or constables are honestly not very frightening unless more than 10,000 of them are coming. How long have I been walking through the forest? I realize I have entered the demon spirit's territory. White fur is scattered throughout the forest. This is... Approaching the fur, I pick it up and sniff it, immediately identifying the demon spirit. Oh, this demon spirit. Just then, Quong, a house-sized fox with 3 familiar tails appears before me. Growling, growling. The fox glares at me with red eyes, baring its teeth as if ready to devour me. It's Shirho. Quowo. I stare at Shirho for a moment, then ask nonchalantly. What? Are you asking for an arm for trespassing into your territory? What a nostalgic situation. It really brings back old memories. No way, you bitch. Kaiwak. It seems Shirho reverted to a complete beast after falling into Penglai Kingdom, losing his reason and attacking me. I swiftly control my muscles perfectly to climb up a nearby tree and map the surrounding terrain in my mind to devise my battle plan. Shirho, after a moment of searching, finds me and bites into the tree I climbed with his massive jaws. Wadaduk. Doodaduk. After biting and thrashing the tree about 10 times, it shows signs of collapsing. Judging by his muscles and the strength he's displaying, he has the power of 2 or 3 bears combined. Calmly, and with a cold gaze, I leap to another tree like a monkey and observe Shirho. In his frenzy, he continues to destroy trees, and as I keep evading, he becomes more furious and roars even louder. At one point, I notice his muscles swelling. Simultaneously, Shirho kicks off the ground, flying towards the treetop where I stand with his jaws wide open. And I, with a faint smile, grasp the fire poker in reverse. Since I could kill him by stabbing him with the pointed end, I intend to use it merely as a club. Is that all? Back in the early days on Ascension Path, the reason why I always had my arm torn off by Shirho wasn't because of its size or appearance. This damned mutt was, after all, a demon beast at the core formation stage, and once it started using its demonic abilities, it was impossible to counter. However, now that it has fallen to Penglai Island, Shirho only resembles his former self in appearance. He can't use his demon abilities, lacks rationality, and is no different from a demon beast at the very early stages of chi refining, only amplifying his physical abilities with demonic power. And if that's the case, I can catch him blindfolded, even without spiritual power or internal energy. With the opportunity to test my physical capabilities, I grip my axe and fire poker and charge to kick the jaws of Shirho, who is also charging at me. Immediately after, I swiftly move behind him, thrust the fire poker into the gap between his shoulder muscles, and grab his fur tightly. Keek. Shirho screams and falls from the tree. Before hitting the ground, he quickly twists his body to land, and then starts running around frantically, trying to shake me off. But I read his muscles, predict all his movements, and skillfully stay on his back. When he shows an opening, I reach for his head. Kagugugu. Squeezing all the muscles of my entire body for a brief moment, I take a breath and focus my muscle strength into one place. Then, in an instant, Quong, I use all my might to strike the back of Shirho's head, feeling his brain shake from the impact containing the subtlety of vibrating force. His eyes roll back, and he faints immediately. Phew. I step away from Shirho's body and check my condition. Since I used my body without the brain's restriction for a bit, my body is not in good state. Not being able to use energy makes capturing even a guy like this without injury difficult. If I had even a tiny speck of internal energy, I could have captured Shirho much more easily. After calming my startled muscles with a few deep breaths, I stand up. Then, I recall the surrounding terrain I observed earlier. Shirho spun around a central point while trying to shake me off. So, it's likely that the center is Shirho's den. After looking at the unconscious Shirho and realizing it will take some time before he wakes up, I head towards his den. Since he's a demon spirit, it'll be nice if he collected some treasures. And indeed, I found an unexpected treasure. Senior. Did Senior get captured too? It's CO Ran. No, I came to rescue you. I smile as I unexpectedly find my next ally to regain awareness after me. First, let's talk about what has happened. Underscore. Crack, crackle, crackle. We light a fire and roast the carcasses left behind in Shirho's den. Lying on Shirho's tail, who now obeys me after waking up and returning to his den, I ask. So, as soon as you gained awareness, Shirho kidnapped you and you've been here for a few days? Yes, that's correct. It seems the obsession with me remains even here. Interestingly, CO Ran is of the human race. First of all, my setting seems to be an orphan beggar who lost his memory and ended up on the streets. My identity is an orphan with no ties, and I don't have any other memories. So far, I haven't met any other comrades besides Shirho. Listening to him gives me a headache. What exactly are the conditions for gaining awareness? Is it just random? CO Ran has neither lived long, has a large consciousness, nor has a high cultivation. But from what I hear, It seems he had gained awareness even before me. I try to think of commonalities that might exist between Seo Ran and me. Seo Ran is an orphan beggar, and I am a poor charcoal seller. Both of us have experienced hunger. Could it be that our awareness is triggered at the boundary between life and death? I hypothesize as I look at Shirho. Hey, Seo Ran, if I push this guy to the brink of death, do you think Shirho will gain awareness? Seo Ran is taken aback and shakes his head. Please don't do that. No, I mean, if it doesn't work, wouldn't Shirho die for no reason? Shirho, who had been tense at my words, relaxes when Seo Ran seems to dissuade me, and I nod for now. Well, that is true. Then what should we do? First of all, in my opinion, this seems to be something that will take a bit of time. There are still too few examples, and the conditions are unknown. So, rather than gathering comrades right now, how about focusing on establishing a reputation as senior initially aimed for? Indeed. I nod. There will be no difference whether Seo Ran and I kill or spare Shirho. So, raising our reputation by establishing great achievements seems like the best course of action to attract comrades to my side. Good. Then for now, let's start planning in detail. Garuruk. Suddenly, a hungry growl comes from Seo Ran's stomach. I stare at Seo Ran for a moment and hand him some roasted meat. Seo Ran devours the meat voraciously, but I keep observing him. Seo Eunhyun, the charcoal seller, had never gone hungry since he could always steal money for rice and soup, but Seo Ran, an amnesiac beggar orphan in this world, seems severely malnourished. For now, let's go to my place and get you some food. Then we'll make a plan. Since Seo Ran can't starve to death, I decide to feed him before discussing our next steps. We order Shirho to stay put and descend the mountain. Shirho appears to want to follow Seo Ran, but after a little beating from me, he becomes very obedient, so no big problems arise. Back home, I wash the rice that Yunwei mixed with sand and pebbles. Amazingly, what had been a bucket full of rice is reduced to a few handfuls once all the sand and pebbles are washed out. I explained to Seo Ran about the rice Yunwei gave and apologized for the small amount. Yunwei, that human. I need to kidnap her and hang her upside down someday. Perhaps influenced by charcoal seller Seo Eunhyun's persona, a bad thought flashes through my mind. I somehow managed to cook the scant amount of rice, and Seo Ran, after eating the rice with soy sauce despite being filled with stones even after being washed, gives me his opinion. How about becoming mountain bandits? Mountain bandits? Yes, we will use Shirho to raid the village. Since Elder Yunwei still hasn't gained awareness, if we empty the granary and make them go hungry like Senior and me, won't they come to their senses? Chapter 382, with everyone 6. I am taken aback and ask again, what if Yunwei dies? All right, I apologize. Seo Ran scratches his head awkwardly. Shaking my head, I say, starting today, I plan to use this village as a base, roaming around to capture or subdue demon spirits like Shirho. In the process, I intend to gather comrades, expand my faction, and establish great achievements. After pondering for a moment, Seo Ran asks, if Senior is planning on expanding your faction, wouldn't it be better to overthrow the village to make it the base of your force? After overthrowing the village, we can use demon spirits to collect tribute and be worshipped. This kid, why does he want to rule a village so badly? Thinking back, I suddenly remember that Seo Ran had been worshipped as a dragon god on a small island during his chi building days. I glance at Seo Ran briefly. Although a bit unreliable, Seo Ran's words indeed make sense. After all, if we establish a faction, looting for supplies might happen anyway. It might be better to start from Tai village and establish a regular source of tribute. I recall the purpose of this formation. According to Yuk Rin's logs, the formation changes its details based on the memories of the entrants, but the purpose remains the same each time. That objective is to become the king of Penglai Kingdom. According to Yuk Rin, there are various ways to become the king of Penglai Kingdom. If one is lucky enough to have the setting of crown prince, they only need to wait for the coronation ceremony. Even if the entrant is not the crown prince, they can marry the crown prince or princess to become the royal consort or queen. Of course, there is also the option of overthrowing the Penglai Kingdom, establishing oneself as the ruler, and becoming the king. Once someone becomes the king or a figure close to the king, they are granted the authority to exit the illusion formation along with the right to take or investigate the treasures of the royal castle. In terms of numbers, we have an overwhelming advantage. If the followers of the Wuji religious order regain their memories, we could overthrow Penglai Kingdom and I could declare myself king. However, according to Yuk Rin's information, those who enter earlier are closer to the king or have better conditions to become the king. These include those of royalty, powerful officials, demon spirits, divine spirits, or monsters. Last time Yuk Rin came to Penglai Island, he killed a monster called the Great Bandit of the Underworld Kingdom, who had kidnapped the princesses of Penglai Kingdom and then married a princess to become the royal consort. TL/N. The monster is from another Korean folktale called The Tale of Defeating the Great Bandit of the Underground Kingdom. It is called the Hungry Ghost in some traditions and has the appearance of a giant with 9 heads. And once someone becomes the king, royal consort, or queen, they have the authority to expel anyone other than the king from Penglai Island by royal decree. Given my current situation, the closest to the throne would be those damned pirates. It's unclear whether they have regained awareness. Moreover, it is said that the current king of Penglai Kingdom is in good health, so it will take a long time to succeed to the throne. Thus, I only have one option. Indeed, it will be better to overthrow Penglai Kingdom. Ran nods. I think so too. Then, will Senior conquer the village? Hold on. Conquering the village isn't a good idea. I share my plan with Ran. So, Senior intends to subdue numerous demon spirits, raise a great demon spirit army, attack the capital of Penglai Kingdom, and quickly seize the throne. That's right. Considering that there are no sorceries or mysterious powers in this world except for demon spirits, this method is the best. Well, I understand. Let's do it that way. Although Ran seems disappointed about not being worshipped by villagers, it isn't my concern. We immediately formulate a plan and head back to Shurho to give orders. We need some capital to subdue demon spirits. Shurho, go hunt some wild boars or something. Shurho looks at me hesitantly at my command, but only moves after Ran repeats my words. He only listens to you. He seems to like me. And some time later, Shurho brings back a large cow in his mouth. The cow, seemingly unaware of the situation, blinks its big eyes. I told you to catch wild boars, but you brought a village cow. A live one at that. Where did you get it from? In response to Ran's question, Shurho points in a direction. It's the direction of the neighboring Little E village. I nod. Well, fine. Since it's not from our village, we can sell it to Tai village. Although feeling a bit guilty, I decide to think of it as a good thing and lead the cow Shurho caught down to the village. Elder Yunwei, please open the door. When I knock on Yunwei's door, she appears with a few servants, looking furious. You rotten rascal, what did you come asking for this time? I'm not here to ask for anything. I'm here to sell a cow. Yunwei's eyes widen as she sees the cow behind me. This scoundrel, where on earth did you get that cow? Does it matter where I got it from? I'm offering it to you at a cheap price, so please give me a fair amount. Ahem, this seems quite suspicious. You're not trying to sell me a sick cow, are you? If you don't want to buy it, I'll sell it to another house. Who said I wouldn't buy it? This is a significant matter, so I need to discuss it with my husband. Wait here. Shortly after, Yunwei rushes inside and brings back Old Gentleman Nalbu. Old Gentleman Nalbu inspects the cow, glances at me, and nods approvingly. It's a good cow. I'll buy it at the right price. Haha, no need to speak so formally. You can speak casually to me. When I try to be humble, his face twists deeply into a frown and says, "This good-for-nothing brat. Learn some manners." I don't understand Nalbu's strange attitude, but nevertheless, I sell the cow to Old Gentleman Nalbu for 40 brass coins. Well, considering Han 1 originally has mental issues, this might be a reflection of that. Han 1 instructs his servants to take the cow to the barn, then speaks to Yunwei. Wife, since surname Co sold us such a valuable cow, give him some rice cakes as a token of gratitude. He has mouths to feed. Pardon? But we don't even know if the cow that surname Co rascal sold us is any good. Moreover, surname Co isn't a farmer but sells charcoal, so he probably just sold us a cow he doesn't need. Ahem, wife. We're short on livestock because of the recent demon spirit troubles. We should be grateful for grateful things. No more complaints. Yes. Though Yunwei seems slightly upset, she obediently packs some rice cakes in a basket and hands them to me. She only packed the oldest rice cakes. I click my tongue but accept them gratefully and leave Old Gentleman Nalbu's house. As I step out, I overhear Nalbu whispering to Yunwei from behind. I'm sorry, wife, but it's not because I dislike you. I know. Yunwei seems to soften at Nalbu's apology, her voice melting as she giggles. In the distant fields, I see John Myonghun farming with Jean Sohei and their 12 children. If this is a dream or an illusion, would they want to wake up even if they realize it? That thought suddenly crosses my mind. With the money I received from Yunwei, I head to a blacksmith in a village next to a neighboring village to buy leg guards and a sword. My infamy in Tai village is so great that if I try to buy such things there, they would think I am planning to start a fight and refuse to sell to me. Kakaka. Normally I only supply government troops, but you seem to have a filial heart, so I'll make an exception and sell to you, young man. The blacksmith from the village laughs heartily as he takes 3/4 of the money from selling the cow. It's outright robbery, but he'd likely run straight to the authorities if I complain, so I just pay what he asks. Anyway, I won't have to worry about the cost of a sword once I conquer Penglai Kingdom. With that, my preparations are roughly complete. Surung, though it isn't an exceptional sword, it is still an iron sword. Seo Ran looks at the iron sword with doubtful eyes and asks, Senior, if you can't use spiritual power or internal energy, won't you need more weapons? From my few days living in a human body, I have found it has poor durability and strength compared to the body of the demon race. However, I silently swing the iron sword. A rock 3 zhang in size beside Seo Ran, Shurho, and myself is cleanly split in one blow. Just the time I spent holding a sword is thousands of years. What nonsense are you talking about? I have reached a level where I can cut through skin with just straw. This alone is enough. With just this iron sword and enough time, I am confident I can fight the army of Penglai Kingdom alone and inflict devastating damage. I tap the iron sword with my finger a few times, and then climb onto Shurho's back. I'm going to bring in more demon spirits from other areas. Are you going to come along? I don't think I would be of much help, so I'll just stay here and get used to this human body. All right. In the meantime, gather some nets and needles. The more needles, the better. Let's go. I smack the back of Shurho's head, and Shurho quickly starts crossing the mountain. One day, strange rumors began circulating in Penglai Kingdom. The rumors say that the king of demon spirits has appeared and is subjugating and gathering all the demon spirits across the nation. According to these rumors, the king of demon spirits plans to attack the capital, become the king of Penglai Kingdom, and turn the world into the heaven and earth of demon spirits. Eventually, the king of Penglai Kingdom announced that anyone who could eliminate the king of demon spirits would marry the princess, and all the renowned warriors of the nation began heading to the king of demon spirits base in Tai village. Among them is Jin Mayol, a scion of the prestigious and powerful Jin clan, the most powerful family in the capital. I can't stand by while a monster like the king of demon spirits threatens our kingdom. Jin Mayol, born with extraordinary talent since childhood, excelled in everything, whether it was archery or swordsmanship. Although the Jin clan tried to dissuade Jin Mayol from participating, he ignored everyone's objections and headed to Tai village. Why would a talent like you risk your life going to Tai village? Aren't you already a strong candidate to be the next prince consort of the kingdom? Do not try to stop me. What use is becoming the prince consort when the kingdom is in such turmoil? No one in the Jin clan could deter Jin Mayol, and he was confined to his room by the head of the clan. Bind that foolish boy and lock him in the warehouse. They couldn't afford to lose such a talented member of the family. However, Jin Mayol cut his bindings in the dead of night, stole weapons and a horse, and escaped from his house. Mother, father, please forgive me. But as someone born from the grace of this kingdom, I cannot ignore this great calamity. And when Jin Mayol is just about to cross the capital, Tatit, someone with a covered face suddenly rushes towards him. Who goes there? Jin Mayol, tense, pulls out his bow from his pack and aims it at the figure. The figure then reveals their face. Ah no. Jin Mayol's expression turns into pure shock. Princess Yukyo. It is none other than Princess Yukyo, the princess who had been discussed as the potential bride for Jin Mayol. Let's go together, Sir Jin. What nonsense are you talking about, princess? I too wish to protect the kingdom. There's no need for further words. Isn't Sir Jin also sneaking away to protect the kingdom, avoiding the eyes of your family? Princess and I. No need for further words. If you keep trying to stop me, I'll scream and alert everyone that you're escaping. If I, the princess, scream in the middle of the night, you know what the consequences will be when you're caught, right? Jin Mayol furrows his brow deeply and says, Fine, but the princess must absolutely not participate in the fighting. If you insist on being stubborn, I understand. I'll listen to you, Sir Jin, so just let me ride with you. Yukyo nods calmly and climbs onto the horse behind Jin Mayol, who rides with an expression as if having eaten something foul. Yukyo holds onto Jin Mayol from behind with a tense expression. I've got my chance. I need to join up with the cult leader during this opportunity. Jin Mayol must not regain awareness until then. She bites her lip tightly and, with tense eyes, rides with Jin Mayol towards Tai village. After that, Jin Mayol also gains other companions besides Princess Yukyo. With talented friends such as Yuk Rin, the son of the Dragon King of the East Sea, Kim Young-hoon, a passing scholar, and Baek Rin, a shaman who claims to see ghosts, they all head towards Tai village. Finally, he arrives at Tai village and confronts the king of demon spirits, Seo Eunhyun. The king of demon spirits is indeed powerful. With one strike, he severs the arm of Yuk Rin, the son of the Dragon King. Kim Young-hoon, the scholar with the highest martial skills among them, seems to hold his ground for a while, but is eventually overwhelmed by the sheer number of Seo Eunhyun's demon spirit subordinates and defeated. Baek Rin, who claims to summon ghosts, is knocked out by Seo Eunhyun before he could even call upon a single spirit. In the end, Jin Mayol and Yuk Rin have no choice but to flee. No, Yuk Rin. Princess Yukyo is still there. You fool. We can't defeat the king of demon spirits. Give up on the princess. Damn it. Jean Mayol swallows his frustration. Why? Is running away the only thing I can do? He clenches his teeth as he flees with Yuk Rin. I will definitely return. King of demon spirits. Clang. I throw the sword, the blade chipped and worn from the battle with Yuk Rin, to the ground. It's really unfair, isn't it? I'm just a human with no mystical powers, but that Yuk Rin bastard can transform into a dragon, breathe fire, fly, and has tough scales. Furthermore, Co Ran, who is also of the dragon race, became strangely human. I really don't understand why the rules of this world are so bizarre. I speak while looking at the approaching Yukyo. So far, no one else has come to their senses except for me, Co Ran, and you, Yukyo. She bows before me and says, "Greetings to the cult leader. Yeah, nice to meet you." Of course, to be honest, I'm not exactly thrilled. I would have preferred a reliable comrade to come to their senses, but to think that a scammer like Yukyo would be the next after Co Ran to regain awareness. By the way, did you say you're a princess? Yes. Good. I plan to take control of Penglai Kingdom right away. Marry Co Ran and lend us some legitimacy. And then, I am startled by Yukyo's next words. I refuse. What did you just say? Instead, I will reveal the secrets and truths of this world to you and disclose all of Yuk Rin's schemes. Becoming a king will be easy in comparison, so please be content with this. I look at Yukyo for a moment before asking, do you know something? Why didn't you say anything when Yuk Rin was captured by us outside? My father had sealed my memories, so I didn't know anything at that time. When I returned to Penglai Island, my memories came back. Inside Penglai Island, the oaths and contracts from the outside world do not apply. Returned to Penglai Island? I am utterly astonished by her next words. I was born on Penglai Island. My father, during his last visit to Penglai Island, defeated the great bandit of the underworld, married my mother, and took me and his many other children to the outside world. What? From now on, I will tell you the truth of this world. Chapter 383, Salt 1. Yukyo starts speaking. This world is a real world. It is not simply an illusion within a formation. A real world? But the inhabitants here lack intent. Well, honestly, I'm not sure how the cult leader perceives it. However, from my perspective, the ancient force realm my father took us to felt like the real, illusionary world. When my father took my siblings and I to the ancient force realm, my mother advised us to never forget our identities as it's a dream world. What? From my perspective, that world is the illusion of falsehood. The cult leader knows well about how I behaved in the ancient force realm, considering it a false world and a place of non-humans. No, wait, don't use terms like non-humans. It's very unpleasant. My apologies. In any case, even though my memories were sealed, I unconsciously viewed that place as such and lived somewhat recklessly. I feel a headache coming on. It's as if I just heard an absurd truth out of nowhere. Our world is a dream. But it's strange. If our world is a dream, then what are we in this world? Are some of this world's folktales and legends created according to our memories? And do characters corresponding to us come into being? Characters corresponding to us, from my perspective, it's quite the opposite. Ordinary people who were living well suddenly have strange dreams, and their personalities change. Even royals occasionally experience such things. Then why did you follow Yuk Rin if you knew the ancient force realm is an illusory world? And if so, who is the current king of Penglai Kingdom? First, my father said that if we go to the illusory world, we could enjoy immense pleasure and delight, and live for hundreds or thousands of years. He also said we could return whenever we wanted. He described it as a land of immortal or the idyllic peach blossom garden. So we followed, thinking we'd just enjoy it for a while and return. At that time, my father had the body of the dragon race, so we thought he was guiding us to a divine place. A look of misery spreads on Yukyo's face. But as soon as we arrived in the illusory world, the ancient force realm, Father sealed our memories and extracted the true blood of the sea dragon race from my siblings who inherited his bloodline. Just as I viewed that world an illusion, he saw this world as an illusion and felt no guilt as he believed that we, born in this illusion, were nothing more than illusions. I listened in silence to her shocking words. Fortunately or unfortunately, I, being the youngest, did not inherit much of the sea dragon true blood. Due to this, my father treated me as worthless, not extracting the true blood from me. Anyhow, he roughly proclaimed me a princess and let me go. I did everything I could to escape from his terrifying hands. Eventually, I stole the secret art from Jean Mayol and somehow managed to escape. After that, I lived recklessly in the illusory world, indulging in pleasure and fraud. Why did you steal the secret art from Jean Mayol? At that time, I just thought it looked tempting. But unconsciously, it seems I did it to return to this world. To return to this world? Yes. Although my bloodline is of a worthless level, I still have the true blood of the sea dragon race, and the sea dragon race is the only race that can read the sea routes in the ancient force realm. I think I intended to transform into a sea dragon and find a way to return to Panlai Island. Of course, since I didn't have any memories, I suppose I didn't know what I wanted either. I am stunned by these shocking truths. Seo Ran, who has been listening beside me, is also gaping. Now, I will explain the conditions for regaining awareness in this world. Why yes, quickly tell us. I examine Yukio's intent. She's not lying. Not only her intent, but also her heartbeat and other reactions indicate she is telling the truth. And considering the situation, she has no reason to come all the way here to lie to us. The quickest way to regain awareness in this world is to have someone who cherishes you. Someone who cherishes you? Yes. The more people in the ancient force realm or other worlds who think of you, the deeper their feelings and the higher their level, the quicker you'll regain awareness. In other words, the time it takes to regain your awareness in this world is determined by the connections you have built. Seo Ran and I look at each other. I have a lot of connections to consider. Starting with the followers of the Wuji religious order, Kong Min He of the Bright Cold Realm, the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the Head Realm, and even though I'm not sure if they cherish me, the entering Nirvana true persons. Not to mention the existences that can only bring misfortune, who showed immense interest in me during the regression process of this cycle. Then, what about Seo Ran? Seo Ran, looking puzzled, speaks. Does Master think of me that deeply in the netherworld? Not necessarily. There are also disciples with masters outside who haven't regained their awareness yet. Then what could it be? Yukio shrugs as if nothing. Couldn't it be that Sir Seo Ran is receiving the affection of a higher existence? Who would bestow such affection on me? Is there no one who comes to mind? Perhaps your parents, an acquaintance, a friend, or an ancestor? My parents aren't exactly ordinary, but to say they are a higher existence, all my acquaintances and friends came here with me. Ancestors. I don't really like to think about my grandfather Sea Dragon King. He grabs his head in frustration, as if he can't figure it out. Yukio shrugs her shoulders. Well, it seems you're receiving the affection of a higher existence without even knowing it. Congratulations. Seo Ran's face turns pale. Is that a good thing? Seo Ran falls into confusion, and I sink into deep thought. This is strange. Yukio is telling the truth, but it's so bizarre. There is a sense of incongruity. To say this world is real, there are too many bizarre points, and it differs too much from reality. And while Yukio herself seems unaware, it's strange how this world seems to adjust to us. I'm confused whether Yukren had lied to me, or if Yukio is simply mistaken. A world filled with strange contradictions and a sense of incongruity. That is Panlai Island. And what exactly is going on with Seo Ran? According to Yukio, there are 3 factors for quickly regaining awareness in this world. Having many people who cherish the entrant of this world. The feelings of those who cherish the entrant are deep. The level of those who value the entrant is high. Could it be that Seo Ran is also under the gaze of some true immortal? I look at Seo Ran with suspicious eyes. I can't be sure. At the beginning of this life, hadn't I got entangled with a higher existence from the netherworld and ended up falling into the nether ghost realm? Seo Ran is also practicing ghost path methods, so he might be attracting the attention of a reaper from the netherworld. I press down on my swirling head and ponder. In that case, the ones who will find their memories the fastest are the leaders of the Wuji religious order, especially Yun Wei and Zhang Myonghun. Yun Wei and Zhang Myonghun are not just prominent figures in the Wuji religious order, but also extremely famous personalities in the lower realm's Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. They should regain awareness the quickest. Since Yukio claims to be a native of this world, it makes sense that she and Seo Ran regain their awareness almost simultaneously with me. I organize my complex thoughts and ask, then, what is Yukren aiming for? And what is his ultimate goal? He seems to have some relationship with Jean Mayol. What relationship is it? Why did Jean Mayol want you? I will start with Jean Mayol. He not only desired the stolen dragon form disguise method, but also my status. Not as Princess Sacred Orchid of Governing Dragon Palace, but as the Princess of Panlai Kingdom. By marrying me, he could quickly gain benefits in Panlai Kingdom and potentially become its king or a high-ranking minister. That's why Jean Mayol wanted me and allied with my father. Wait. Noticing something strange in Yukio's words, I glare at her. If this world is your homeland, why are you just standing by while we lead the demon spirits to overthrow Panlai Kingdom? Well, cult leader isn't going to rule Panlai Kingdom forever, right? And I know cult leader's character well. While cult leader made a reputation as the king of demon spirits, he hardly ever caused any human casualties despite a bit of plundering, right? Once cult leader returns to your original world, I can use the power of the guardian dragons protecting the royal family to disperse the demon spirits and restore the royal family. Are you planning to kill my mother, the current queen? I won't kill her. Thank you. Yukio smiles brightly and bows, as if she expected that. I feel a headache coming on. I have heard too many shocking truths. But surprisingly, there are still more things I need to hear. What is Yuk-Rin's goal? When Yuk-Rin was mentioned, Yukio's expression darkens. Father didn't inherit much of the sea dragon trueblood when he was born, but after immense effort, he succeeded in transforming into a dragon. However, it seems he wasn't satisfied with that. Yukio begins revealing the truth about Yuk-Rin. Among my father's acquaintances, there was a person named Yuk-Ung, the master of Cherry Blossom Sea Domain, where Panlai Island was originally located. Yes, I know roughly. That Yuk-Ung, unlike my father, was born with an almost perfect sea dragon body and bloodline. My father always envied him. However, for some reason, Yuk-Ung suffered from a disease where his blood would boil and eventually died from it, unable to overcome the illness. Even his blood evaporated entirely, leaving behind an intact sea dragon body but no blood, dying like a dried-up corpse. From her continued words, I can guess Yuk-Rin's plan. Could it be, did he do that disgusting thing I am thinking of? He probably did so. My father decided to take Cherry Blossom Dragon Palace, Lord Yuk-Ung's body, and to gather the lacking sea dragon true blood. He came to this world, gave birth to us, and extracted the sea dragon true blood to infuse it into Palace Lord Yuk-Ung's body. Then he uprooted Cherry Blossom Dragon Island that Palace Lord Yuk-Ung governed and transformed it into a deep-sea island under governing Dragon Palace, hiding Palace Lord Yuk-Ung's body there. And with a very peculiar secret art, he split his soul and hid it within Palace Lord Yuk-Ung's body in Cherry Blossom Dragon Island. Baduduk, I finally realized why Yuk-Rin cooperated so readily when we captured him. It wasn't his main body. The main body is hidden in the deep-sea island beneath governing Dragon Palace. But something is strange. Seo Ren expresses his doubt. Sir Kim Young-hoon and cult leader both have eyes that can see the essence of the soul. How could they not distinguish between the main body and the clone? There is one secret art that makes it impossible to distinguish between the main body and the clone. At my cold voice, Seo Ran's eyes widen. And among the sea dragon race, who has learned that technique, is there not one? No, more than one we know of? Could it be? That's right. I recall the detestable face of that one person. A ho-ho echoes in my ears, and somehow my shoulders feel stiff. Seo Huiol, and tainted soul filling the heavens. Chapter 384, Salt 2. Ancient Force Realm, Weizhong Sea Domain. Governing Dragon Palace. The deep-sea island beneath it, known as Cherry Blossom Dragon Island. There, the half-human, half-fish nascent soul demon beast, Wai Yun, takes a deep breath. Phew damn. Having reached the nascent soul stage, the transformed her eventually gained the ability to take on a fully human form for both her upper and lower body. She shivers as she looks up at the sea dragon statue before her. Her head is spinning. She has lost count of how many times she has done this, but I must do it. Wai Yin bites her lips as she remembers her village burning at the hands of ghosts on governing Dragon Island. Splurt. She draws her own blood and offers it to the sea dragon statue before her. The sea dragon statue absorbs her blood and her life force. A light flickers in the eyes of the sea dragon statue. State your desire. More power. Please grant me power. Understood. Immediately, a dark crimson energy emanates from the statue and is infused into Wai Yun's body. She absorbs the crimson blood devilish energy. Her eyes turn black, her pupils glowing a vivid red. Her cultivation, which had been at the early nascent soul stage, surges to the mid-nascent soul stage. Offer more blood sacrifices. In return, I will grant you more power. I cannot do that. Understood. Wai Yun closes her eyes tightly. To save her parents, she has been cultivating devilish arts on Cherry Blossom Dragon Island for over 100 years. By offering her blood and lifespan to the sea dragon statue, it granted her immense power and advancement in her cultivation. Of course, the sea dragon statue desires more than just that. Do not ask for blood sacrifices. I will carry out your commands. Give me your orders. Occasionally, the sea dragon statue gave Wai Yun tasks. Most of these tasks involved eliminating followers of the Wuji religious order or ambushing key figures of the order. Performing these tasks was treated the same as offering blood, and the sea dragon statue would bestow her with power. Since these missions were what Wai Yun always desired, she happily carried them out, achieving rapid progress in her cultivation over the past century. If I can just advance a little more, I can break through the ghostly creatures guarding governing Dragon Island and rescue my parents, who are forced to work at the center. Give me my mission. At that moment, the sea dragon statue, which had been silent for a moment, emits a red light, and a massive amount of devilish energy flows into Wai Yun's body. While she is in a daze, her cultivation level forcibly rises. Kuguguguk. Her initial mid-nascent soul stage cultivation skyrockets to the grand perfection nascent soul stage. Despite feeling her nascent soul being shaken and her lifespan being reduced by the forced advancement, she laughs instead. With this level of cultivation, the day to rescue her parents is not far off. Just as she rejoices, a voice addressing her comes from the sea dragon statue. Power has been granted in advance. Go immediately to Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain and perform the spell I will teach you. In return, I will bestow upon you a heavenly being pill. Thank you. Wai Yun bows deeply to the statue and, intoxicated by the devilish energy, stumbles out of Cherry Blossom Dragon Island. Stumble, spurt. Wai Yun coughs. Her cough is mixed with blood. I probably won't live long. She feels her lifespan has been drastically shortened as a result of the rapid increase in her cultivation in such a short period. But it's okay, as long as I can save my parents. Her long-sought goal is now within reach. Staggering, she walks through a massive cave, heading towards the entrance that leads to the sea surface from Cherry Blossom Dragon Island. The walls of the cave she passes through are adorned with murals. They depict a gigantic, dark crimson something battling a dragon. In the subsequent mural, the dark crimson something's head is cut off by an axe-like weapon hurled by the dragon, but for some reason, the dragon's head is also severed simultaneously. It's an implausible sequence. Clearly, the dragon had beheaded the dark crimson something's head with the axe, yet inexplicably, the axe was embedded in the dragon's neck, and the dragon lay dead on the ground with the axe lodged in its body with its neck severed. Despite having part of its body severed by the axe, the dark crimson something did not die and reached out to the dragon, obtaining something from it. The dark crimson figure then created a small worm-like creature. It was a black worm. The black worm created another worm identical to itself and threw it somewhere. The identical worm, thrown into a place depicted with countless ocean waves, settled there, scattering tiny egg-like things beneath the sea. Beneath the sea, there were stars, moons, and suns, human fingers and thighs, some beasts' horns, livers, body parts, and even someone's head lined up. The mural ends there. Wai Yin passes through the cave adorned with murals and rises to the sea surface. In any case, father will soon regain his senses. Yukio continues. That person values himself very highly. Moreover, since there is a perfectly aware version of himself outside, he will quickly regain his identity if he synchronizes with the mind outside with the mind here. I wear a cold expression, so should I just cut off his head? Whether he regains his awareness or not, as long as he sticks close to the ground, I am confident I can cut off his head. I don't know if that will work. Well, I understand. You're saying he might have something more hidden up his sleeve. Yes, I apologize, but that's all I know and I can't provide any more information. It's fine. I intend to do what I can for now. By the way, are you alright? What do you mean? I will kill your father. At those words, Yukio's expression turns bitter, but soon becomes resolute. Please kill him. That person betrayed my siblings, my mother, this world. Not killing him would be a disservice to everyone who has died or been deceived by him. Understood. In that case, I will use some harsh methods starting today to take over Penglai Kingdom and ascend to the throne. I have to seize the throne to resist him. Is that acceptable? As long as you don't kill the royal family, it's fine. Understood. I nod and speak to Seo Ran. Let Yukio rest. Yes, follow me for now. Seo Ran takes Yukio to the best house in Tai village, which is Nalbo's house. I fall into deep thought. Yukrin, does that mean he is also learning tainted soul filling the heavens? It doesn't feel that way. I don't feel the same ominous and endless malice that I felt when I was infected by Seo Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens. From the beginning, it doesn't seem like Yukrin could perform the torturous acts of dismantling one's mind like Seo Huiol. Just when I am pondering the connection between Yukrin and Seo Huiol. Kaya! I hear a scream. Surprised, I run towards Nalbu's house and see a shocking scene. A sea of blood. Old gentleman Nalbu's house has become a sea of blood. And inside Nalbu's house, Yunwei is sitting in the hall with a kitchen knife and vacant eyes. Blood is dripping from her kitchen knife. I look at Yunwei and ask, what is the meaning of this? Seo Eunhyun, is it you? She speaks with empty eyes. You've regained your memory. That's right. I look around Nalbu's house. There is a particularly strong smell of blood coming from the master bedroom. In one corner, Yunjin is sitting with hollow eyes, too shocked to speak. So I asked what is the meaning of this. I thought if I stayed here any longer, I might go mad in reality too. So I adjusted the situation to be similar to reality. She looks at me with gloomy eyes and gives a bitter smile. Gone is Yunwei, who used to giggle and act cute at old gentleman Nalbu's apologetic words. What remains is an old monster who had gouged out the eyes of her betrothed and harbors a 40,000-year-old grudge. It was such a sweet dream. But humans cannot live in dreams. They shouldn't. If they get drunk on dreams, they'll go mad. But did you really have to go this far? Yunjin is now. What's the problem? Yunjin will wake up soon. And you, right now. Hearing Yunwei's next words, I feel a heavy weight on my chest. Are you hoping I'd wake from this dream and commit suicide in reality? I can't say anything as I look into Yunwei's vacant eyes. But Yukio, who is behind me, cries out with tears streaming down. What is the meaning of this? These people are my subjects. Yunwei looks at Yukio as if she is spewing nonsense, and I relay the truth I have heard from Yukio in a heavy voice. Then, Yunwei spits out her words as if she is chewing them. Don't talk nonsense. She's gone mad. This carp girl. This world is just a world within an illusion formation. You've been brainwashed by your father. No, it's not. These people are my subjects. It's not just an illusion. It's you. It's you people who are illusions. Don't be ridiculous. Are you saying this is real? And we're fake? That's insane. My 40,000 years. Are you saying it's fake? Say one more word. I'll rip out your tongue. Yunwei stands up, holding the kitchen knife. Even without any spiritual power or chi, her 40,000 years of combat experience are enough to certainly carry out her threat. Though she usually plays around and jokes with us, this is her true nature. I draw my sword and cut through Yunwei's kitchen knife. Ting! The kitchen knife is cut in half and embedded into the wall. Stop! My killing intent neutralizes Yunwei's. However, at Seo Rant's words, Yunwei's eyes flip. Please calm down. Can't you consider that both might be real? For example, like different possibilities of oneself. You right now. Baduduk. Blood vessels pop in Yunwei's eyes. Are you saying that this is my other possibility? She clenches her hand. Blood flows from her hand as her nails dig into her flesh. Living intimately with Han1. Raising children in a normal way. Waking up early in the morning to prepare his breakfast, managing the servants, helping with his work, having lunch together, feeding our son, handing our son to Han1, welcoming relatives who visit occasionally, following Han1's words, and sometimes getting scolded and feeling down. Laughing like a courtesan when receiving praise or an apology, having a full dinner at night, lighting a warm fire, putting our son to sleep, and then being intimate with Han1 again. That life? You're saying that's my other possibility? Baduduk. Yunwei clenches her teeth. Blood flows from her gums. Fine, if this world is such a possibility, then what is with the entity that created this world and brought us here? For what reason did that existence bring us here and show us such possibilities? Why to me, particularly? To make me more miserable? Huh, don't make me laugh. If this world is real, then it's an evil. That mocks me completely. Say it again. Is this world an illusion, or is it the malice, that is endlessly pushing us? Yukio tries to say something, and Yunwei rushes at her, as if trying to gouge out her eyes. I said stop. I shout loudly and swing my sword. Boom. In one stroke, Yunwei's neck is cut. Exuding murderous intent, I speak. As the cult leader of the Wuji religious order and the successor of the secret immortal art of Yang Sujin, founder of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, I command Yunwei, the military strategist of the Wuji religious order and disciple of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, to take Yunjin outside and meditate against the wall. Under my killing intent, Yunwei calms her own killing intent and wears a dazed expression, taking the seemingly mute Yunjin outside. I also speak to Yukio, Princess Yukio of Penglai Kingdom. As the king of demon spirits who has taken you hostage, I ask you not to provoke Yunwei. Do not impose your thoughts on her. Understood. I resolve the situation with a stern expression and ask Seo Ran to ensure that Yunwei and Yukio do not encounter each other. Then, I hurriedly run to John Myung-hoon's house. If Yunwei has regained awareness, perhaps John Myung-hoon has regained awareness as well. I quicken my pace, worried if John Myung-hoon is doing the same as Yunwei. I can see John Myung-hoon's house in the distance. A sense of foreboding washes over me. John Myung-hoon. From inside the house, the smell of blood drifts. Chapter 385, Salt 3. John Myung-hoon. When I enter the house, I see John Myung-hoon sitting in the main hall. A knife is held in John Myung-hoon's hand. His clothes are torn in various places, and there are numerous self-inflicted wounds. I scan John Myung-hoon's room. I hear the sound of someone breathing lightly inside. I rush over and open the door, only to find Jin Sohei and her children lying on the ground. They are all unconscious, apparently knocked out by John Myung-hoon. I close the door and look at him. Have you come to your senses? Seo Eun-hyun. John Myung-hoon looks up at me with empty eyes. Kill me. Don't talk nonsense. I just want to think of it as a nightmare. After all, it's an illusion formation, right? Even if I die here, I'll wake up again. Isn't that right? If you won't kill me, then what am I supposed to do? Here, Sohei is alive. John Myung-hoon clings to me with a small voice. His effort to lower his voice, despite being in utter despair, shows his fear of waking up Jin Sohei and his children. I'm saying Sohei is alive, okay? What am I supposed to do? It's so vivid, Eunhyun. It's not just Sohei's hand. Her breath, her gaze, her personality, her skin, everything is the same. The same. So I can't help but stay here. Here. If someone becomes the king here, this illusion formation will break, right? I can't bear to see this illusion formation break with my own eyes. Just kill me instead. I know. I know this world is an illusion. And I know that the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect are counting on me in the lower realm. I understand it clearly. I also know that I have to wake up someday. Because I have to take revenge against heavenly punishment. He can't even string the words together properly, clutching at me desperately. So, I can't stay here. But, with my own eyes, this world, breaking, I can't bear to see it. Please, Eunhyun, kill me. Even if you kill me, it's an illusion. I'll come back to life again. Eunhyun, slap. I slap John Myung-hoon's cheek. I've lost too. At my words, John Myung-hoon shuts his mouth. I've lost too. Don't cry like you're the only madman. John Myung-hoon seems to think I am talking about Hong Soo-ryong and falls silent. But it isn't just Hong Soo-ryong. Book Hyunghwa, Kim Yun, my emotion regarding them. My feelings of seeing their face, the same but completely different inside, after multiple regressions. Does this bastard know? Does he know how it feels to have all memories and time ripped away, not knowing who or what to blame and seek revenge on? Does he know the emptiness of not knowing the cause behind the regressions and shouting helplessly at the heavens? There's another Jin Sohei in front of you? You're afraid to see the dream break? I too. Lost the same. Don't lean on me. I grab John Myung-hoon by the collar and shout. I too. In front of my eyes, the same Book Hyunghwa, the same Kim Yun. Have them here. Does he know what it feels like to die multiple times, to regress as if waking up multiple times, to have all the time I've spent disappear like a dream? Get up. You fucking bastard. Now is the time we have to move. Stop spewing bullshit. This time too. If you don't want to lose more. Follow my lead. Drip, drip. John Myung-hoon bites his lip. Bright red blood flows down his chin. I grab John Myung-hoon's collar and drag him out of the house. My comrades are starting to regain their memories. Yuck Rin, that bastard is planning something, some goddamn scheme. In the sky, although unseen within this formation, the fate of calamity has been bestowed upon me. In this ancient force realm, I am fated for misfortune. Therefore, I must overcome it by any means. I cannot let go of anything I hold in my hands. There are no next chances. I must always be true to what I have at this very moment. Yun Wei and John Myung-hoon, who have high recognition in the Wuji religious order and the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, have woke up. I head towards the prison I built behind Tai Village. It's a prison for the countless warriors and humans who attacked Tai Village and were captured by the strengths of the demon spirits I subdued with my sword. And of course, many of my old comrades are imprisoned there. From their perspective, I am the king of demon spirits and the greatest devil the world has ever seen. Naturally, they wouldn't cooperate with me, hence the imprisonment. The demon spirits obey out of a lack of reason and submission to power, but those with reason can't be helped. Along with the Wuji religious order, a person affiliated with another force. I arrive in front of the prison where Oh Hyun-suk is held. At some point, Oh Hyun-suk had broken the chains and bent the iron bars of his cell to escape. Have you come out, Hyungnim? Yes, I've come to my senses. Wooduk Woodaduk. For some reason, Oh Hyun-suk, although human, seems to be treated like a demon spirit in this world. Despite being human, he possesses the demonic power of demon spirits. Perhaps it's because I taught him the Earth Tribe version of the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method. If that's the case, I don't know why I'm just a charcoal seller. The rules of this world are filled with contradictions that can't be explained even with Yuk Yo's explanations, making it impossible to understand. Are you alright, Hyungnim? Honestly, not really. I feel unpleasant. On Earth, there was a child my wife miscarried. Here, I became the father of that child, and, wanting to not be ashamed before my wife and children, I set out to defeat the king of demon spirits. Knowing it's all an illusion really pisses me off. Anyway, let's go. It seems everyone is waking up. Didn't you say we need to take over some city to become king? Yes. I nod my head and set out with Oh Hyun-suk, John Myung-hoon, Yun Wei, and others. Regrettably, Kim Young-hoon, Kim Yun, and Book Hyunghwa have yet to regain awareness. It might be because, besides the Wuji religious order, there are not many who cherish them. Kim Yun has the Mad Lord, but his forces, except for the Mad Lord himself, are all puppets, and it's unclear if the Mad Lord really cherishes Kim Yun. Regardless, I order the Jiangshi demon spirit Wei Shirhan and the water ghost demon spirit Iwem Wa to capture and bring Book Hyunghwa and Kim Yun. I have other demon spirits escort the captives Kim Young-hoon and Yuk Yo. The two are dragged along in resignation, and I shout while placing John Myung-hoon, Yun Wei, Oh Hyunsuk and Seo ran on Shurho's back. Let's go to the capital before Yukrin can pull some nonsensical scheme. Thus, I lead dozens of demon spirit troops towards the capital. Kugugugugu. In the distance, the capital comes into view. The capital of Penglai Kingdom is built around a massive mountain. And that mountain is the salt mountain we saw when we first entered Penglai Island. That salt mountain is most likely the center of this formation. I look up at the summit of the salt mountain. As seen when we first entered Penglai Island, there is a palace made of pure white salt crystals atop the salt mountain. Up there lives Yukio's mother, the queen of Penglai Kingdom. As we cross the city walls, thunder and lightning flicker from above Salt Mountain, and the guardian dragons protecting the royal family of Penglai Kingdom appear. How dare you? Where do you think you are trespassing? Climb up. At my command, the demon spirits ignore the dragon's roars and sprint towards the top of Salt Mountain. The dragons begin to spew flames from their mouths. Gwa-wa. From Oh Hyunsuk's body, treated as a human-shaped demon spirit, purple primordial chaos seems to flicker as he thrusts his fist forward. Kwalong. The fist force launched from Oh Hyunsuk's punch directly extinguishes the dragon's flames, and as the dragons show expressions of surprise, I command Shurho. Jump. Thud. Shurho steps on a peak of Salt Mountain and leaps into the air. I use Shurho's body as a springboard, feeling the oppressive atmosphere, and kick off from him. Pat it. Combining the force of Shurho's jump and my own leap, I soar high into the air. Reaching a guardian dragon's face in an instant, I grab one of its whiskers and climbed up. The guardian dragon struggles, but I hold on tightly, swinging my sword. Boom. Shuckwhack. My sword, crafted by a master blacksmith upon becoming the king of demon spirits, has the quality of a famed sword and easily penetrates the guardian dragon's scales. The dragon's scales are tough, but my understanding of the sword is even more solid. I perform a sword dance atop the dragon's body. Shakak, shakak, shakakakak. Wounds appear all over the dragon's body, and it roars in pain. The guardian dragons of Penglai Kingdom's royal family number 3. In an instant, I subdue one. In the distance, Shurho and Oh Hyunsuk simultaneously subdue another, and numerous other demon spirits perform swarm tactics to take down the last one. Don't kill them. We are entering the palace. I quickly mount Shurho again and head toward the center of the palace. As I move towards the palace's center, I glance at a library full of ritual worship scriptures. Now is not the time to covet those. At the palace's center, numerous trembling officials await us. And at the center, a woman who looks like Yukio is sitting on the throne with what seems to be a jade seal on the table. I speak in a dry manner. I desire the throne. Lend it to me for a moment. She sighs expressionlessly. It's you people again, oh dreamers. I have many questions to ask, but I'm in a hurry now. I'd appreciate it if you quickly lend me the crown and seal. However, she shakes her head. That is not possible. I raise an eyebrow but quickly understand. From behind her throne, Jean Mayul and Yukrin walk out. Jean Mayul sneers slyly and says, "Sorry, but..." I draw my emergency sword from my waist without a word and throw it at Jean Mayul. The sword lodges in Jean Mayul's forehead, killing him instantly. I look at Yukrin, whose face has hardened, and speak. Don't try any tricks, Yukrin. Even if you gain the throne, nothing will change. This cult leader possesses the combat strength at the Grand Perfection integration level. The Ghost Kings of the Order, the Conqueror Fleet, the Surpassing Radiant Divine Demon, and many others with powers at the integration level stand with us. If you confess your plans and surrender, I promise to return governing Dragon Island and the Weizhong Sea domain to you and reinstate you as Palace Lord. Yukrin seems to be staring at the dead Jean Mayul, then speaks in a slightly trembling voice. Honestly, I don't understand what you're talking about. What? I am just the Prince of Dragon Kingdom, allied with Penglai Kingdom. I have no idea what is happening right now. I furrow my brows deeply. His intent speaks the truth. The queen sighs and speaks to me. You seem like a dreamer with deep filial piety. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, dreamer, who knows how to respect elders, congratulations. It seems your forces have won. She takes off her crown and jade seal, as if she has a headache, and points at them. Take them. I know this is what you always wanted. She stands up from the throne and says, "Now sit. Sit here quickly, find what you need from our land, and leave. According to my daughter, you seem somewhat trustworthy. Please, do not tear my heart apart like the last minister did." At her words, the high and low officials of the palace, while trembling at the sight of the demon spirits, cry out, "Your Majesty, how can you hand over the royal ancestral shrine and temple of Penglai to the king of demon spirits? Your Majesty," they wail purely as if they know nothing. In the midst of the wailing, I feel confusion with the helplessly unsure Yukrin, the queen offering me the throne with a resigned expression, and my comrades behind me. However, I approach the crown and jade seal with a hardened face and reach out my hand. Right now, it's a race against time. Thus, wearing the crown of Penglai Kingdom and holding the jade seal of Penglai Kingdom in my hand, I sit on the throne of Penglai Kingdom. The Queen of Penglai Kingdom shouts with an expression as if she finds this bothersome. From now on, the King of Penglai Kingdom is here. And then, in my head, Yuk Rin's voice resounds. Activate. Purple soul filling the heavens. Chapter 386, Salt 4. What? Without even a moment to realize the familiar name of the technique, something unpleasant starts to invade my body. Gurgle, gurgle. Soon, I feel all the colors before my eyes change to a purple hue. I definitely told you, cult leader. All I need are two things from Penglai Island. Keek keek. A sinister laugh echoes in my ears. One of them is your body. Wriggle, wriggle. An illusionary fragrance that feels as if it can pierce my nose assaults me. In front of me, I see a constantly flickering primordial chaos, that I have seen somewhere before. An endlessly mixing, transforming, and evolving double helix of Taiji turns purple and enters my mental world. The figure of Yuk Rin appears. He is smiling viciously, showing a triumphant expression. Now, hand over your body. Give me your cultivation, your memories, and your enlightenment. You are already mine. I frown as I observe the secret art called Purple Soul filling the heavens, trying to take over my body and mind. Even at first glance, it's a terrifying secret art. Even I, who had been trained by Chongmon Ryong to learn any method, find it difficult to follow the changes of this technique with my eyes. I can barely guess the nature of this method. A secret art that seizes the opponent's body, disassembles their memories, soul, abilities, and bloodline, absorbing only the advantageous parts, and automatically expelling what cannot be handled. In theory, as long as one's soul endures, they can evolve endlessly into a perfect being. But that is all. Compared to tainted soul filling the heavens, which bears the name of an immortal art, it's laughably lukewarm. Tainted soul filling the heavens infects stealthily and swiftly, so much so that the opponent might not even realize they are being contaminated. In contrast, purple soul filling the heavens is slow to the point of making one yawn at its rate of corruption. It's such a vast disparity in completion that just comparing it to Xiao Hui's immortal art is an insult to Xiao Hui. However, I smile. One thing is certain. It shares the same root as tainted soul filling the heavens. It's clear. I rather grin widely, looking at Yuk Rin, who is laughing without knowing anything in my heart essence. Finally, I have found a clue to tainted soul filling the heavens. Yuk Rin seems pleased, thinking he is about to seize my body, but he's mistaken. Instead, I have grasped a clue to tainted soul filling the heavens from Yuk Rin. I move within my mental world. On Penglai Island, I can't use chi or other mystical powers. I can't even use my consciousness, but my heart essence is my own heart, so it's not affected. You said you want my body? If you want it, come and take it. What? The next moment, I invite Yuk Rin's mind into my heart essence. Since reaching the realm of seated detachment, standing oblivion, it became possible not only to read an opponent's heart essence, but also to invite someone with whom I had a close exchange of intent. In the following moment, Kwa Warderg, I can feel Yuk Rin's entire body writhing and screaming in pain as he is torn apart in my sword mountain. However, it seems he didn't obtain the position of an integration stage Dragon King through sheer luck, as he grits his teeth and glares at me. With my hands clasped behind my back, I turn away and slowly climb up the mountain. Puckwhack, puckwhack. The swords pierce through my entire body as well, but I pay no heed and calmly and leisurely climb the mountain. If you want to take over my body, try to catch up. Then I'll face you. Yuk Rin's pupils tremble uncontrollably. At first, he thought it was just a sword mountain made of glass. But he can feel it. The more he draws forth purple soul filling the heavens, the more he climbs the sword mountain, the closer the essence of this heart essence world flows into his mind. Due to purple soul filling the heavens, the surface of this world is peeled away, and the true nature of Xiao Eunhyun's heart essence is imprinted in Yuk Rin's brain. Waruru. Sparks flares up everywhere. The smell of sulfur fills the air, and the sky is covered in dark smoke. Heek, hawk. He gasps for breath in the acrid-smelling atmosphere, gritting his teeth. Befitting of a cult leader from the Nether Ghost realm. I thought you were a madman or a monster corrupted by a true person. Drip, drip. Blood drips from his entire body. He trembles as he takes a step forward. Puckwhack. His entire body is impaled by swords. Yuk Rin grits his teeth and looks up at the existence climbing the mountain. Isn't this more insane than I had expected? Drip, splat, splat. Blood flows from that existence. And that blood flows down the mountain, soaking the sword-filled ground that Yuk Rin is standing on. With his whole body shivering, he looks down. There are countless corpses lined up. They are all the corpses of one person. Devilish cult leader Xiao Eunhyun. Each of Xiao Eunhyun's corpses died with a pained and resentful expression. Yuk Rin shivers in fear. Just what are you? Beneath his feet lies what are undoubtedly Seo Eunhyun's. He feels it. Since purple soul filling the heavens is a secret art capable of disassembling the opponent's memories and history, it's excellent at revealing the opponent's essence. He definitely feels it. These numerous Seo Eunhyuns lying on the ground are the real Seo Eunhyun. But if that is the case, why are the real ones dead and scattered on the ground? And what is that thing climbing up the mountain? That thing emits a faint light, making it look like a small cluster of light climbing the gloomy Sword Mountain world. I cannot give up. Yuk Rin's eyes burn with determination. Monster who has cultivated the power of Penglai. The power of Penglai is mine. Enduring the agony of being impaled by countless swords, he chases after that thing ahead of him. At a certain moment, the shape of that thing becomes clear in Yuk Rin's sight. What he had thought was enveloped in light is a charcoal lump in the shape of a human. Chithiye, burning in smoldering flames, shedding ash and charcoal dust from its body. And yet, with a bizarre smile, its face seems at peace. Yes, it's a ghost. Yuk Rin gasps for breath. Through interactions with Jean Mayul of the Fighting Demon Pirate Gang, he has learned about the concept of the Heart Essence world. And he knows that the Heart Essence world reveals the essence of its master without any filter. So then, with a body reduced to charcoal, climbing up the mountain while being pierced by countless swords, what exactly is that thing? That thing is a deceased. At the same time, a monster. An insane madman even more deranged than Yuk Rin, who considers himself a greed-driven monster. Yuk Rin thinks, that devilish cult leader must be killed. No, I must at least seal it. Instinctively, he can tell. Though outwardly pretending to be a human quite well, Yuk Rin feels that this charcoal monster is the most dangerous being in the ancient force realm at present. With each step on the Sword Mountain, even an integration stage demon king like Yuk Rin feels a pain as if his mind is being torn apart. However, Yuk Rin continues to follow the charcoal monster while gritting his teeth. I must eliminate that thing. I must eliminate it. From his intuition, an overwhelming terror he has never felt before surges up. That thing must be stopped. If not, only death awaits. Finally, half crazed from his pursuit of the charcoal lump, Yuk Rin reaches out to the charcoal monster. And then, he realizes he was wrong. Kwa Wa. It happens the moment his fingertips brushes the charcoal figure. Yuk Rin screams in agony, as if his entire body is burning. The pain is unending. The embers emanating from the charcoal does not cling to him. It's a flame meant solely for burning the charcoal lump. However, Yuk Rin also realizes, if he were to dismantle Seo Eunhyun and absorb him with purple soul filling the heavens, that flame will transfer to him as well. Having entered this world to devour Seo Eunhyun and finally touching that scorching charcoal figure, he is now sharing the pain with it. At last, he understands. What are you? The charcoal lump turns to look at him. Instinctively, he knows. What are you? You monster. How can any living being endure such pain? Even esteemed ones would not easily overcome your suffering. I'm asking, what is that flame? How is it possible to endure within that hellfire? This lump of charcoal is not of the human race. No, it doesn't seem to be any ordinary mortal being. It isn't even a devotee of a true person. If it had been given the fate of a mortal being, there is no way it could endure such pain with a clear mind. The charcoal figure looks at Yuk Rin, and Yuk Rin, who had initially intended to dismantle and absorb the charcoal figure into the purple soul filling the heavens, steps back. Go away. Go away, you monster. Kwa. Yuk Rin, forgetting the swords impaling his entire body, begins to run away from the charcoal figure. It's excruciating. The problem isn't being pierced by swords, but the burning pain obtained from touching the charcoal figure once seems to scorch his very soul. No, it is more painful than any fire-based demon ability he has ever experienced in his life. He needs to get away. He needs to get away from that monster for the pain to disappear. He runs down the mountain. I must escape. I must get out of here. Half crazed with pain, Yuk Rin descends to the base of the mountain. As he reaches the base, he seems to see the edge of the Heart Essence. With flipped eyes, he throws himself in order to exit the Heart Essence world. And then, thud. At the bottom of the mountain, amidst the swords, are the corpses of Seo Eunhyun. Those corpses rise in unison and grab Yuk Rin. Yuk Rin screams as he sees the corpses weeping bloody tears. Let go. Let go of me. I said let go. Puwawa. Right now. Let go. Yuk Rin looks back. It's coming down. The charcoal monster is descending the mountain of swords and approaching him. Even though he tries to use purple soul filling the heavens to shake off the corpse's hands, they do not let go. Just the grip strength. Isis star shattering stage stitch. Held das word swordolomy me life. Never let go. A literal hellscape. Yuk Rin struggles in agony, gritting his teeth, and explodes his mental body. To escape, This is the only way. Quong. His mental body bursts apart, and Seo Eunhyun's grip has no choice but to let go. The charcoal monster just stares silently at the scene. I open my eyes. Back in reality, before my eyes. Yuk Rin has returned to his own body, clutching his head and gasping for breath. Purple soul filling the heavens. Thank you. Thanks to you, I've acquired an interesting secret art. Due to him self-destructing his mental body within my heart essence and escaping, I was able to obtain the formula for purple soul filling the heavens from the fragments of the explosion. I can examine it slowly later. He looks up at me and grits his teeth. You just what are you? How can charcoal, chark? That burning, qua. Yuk Rin seems to have seen something within my heart essence, grimacing and groaning in pain. Did he briefly touch the karmic fire? I don't know why he is talking about charcoal all of a sudden. It seems he is in so much pain that he's hallucinating. You're over-exaggerating. I smile faintly, get up from the throne, and kick Yuk Rin. Recently, the karmic fire has been losing its vigor and is about to die out. Only a few embers remain. But is he really making such a fuss over touching those few embers? In any case, it's a fire that only burns me. Unless someone completely devours me, they won't spread. However, perhaps this guy is still unable to escape the shock from the pain of the karmic fire. He is unable to control his body properly and is trembling violently. Wearing the jade seal and crown, I approach Yuk Rin and stomp on his neck. Purple soul filling the heavens. It was quite an impressive trick, but having seen its superior counterpart, it felt insignificant. I question Yuk Rin, who is trembling in pain. So what is your real purpose? Tell me your true objective. Yuk Rin, shuddering in pain and coughing, begins to laugh. Purpose. As I peer into his heart essence, trying to guess his objective, I flinch. Womb. Strength is returning to my body. To be precise, my body is being connected to my main body that is sleeping outside this formation. Sutsutsu. As I rose to the throne and fulfilled the formation's objective, those who have lost their memories are starting to recover them one by one, and like me, are beginning to regain their powers. I stomp harder on Yuk Rin's neck. He's trying to do something. What are you plotting? Wrong? Question, you monster. He looks up at me, enduring the pain with a sneering smile. It has already begun. Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain. Directly beneath the domed sky of the sea domain where all light has vanished, Wai Yun is emanating dark red devilish energy and is forming hand seals in the air. She joins her hands together and reaching towards the sky. At that moment, Kurururum. A gigantic formation seems to unfold in the air, and above the center of Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain, a mirage of Cherry Blossom Dragon Island appears. The deep sea island, hidden beneath governing Dragon Island. From the center of that mirage, the figure of a gigantic sea dragon arises. From the actual Cherry Blossom Dragon Island, using Wai Yun and the Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain itself as a medium, the sea dragon's mirage transmits power and projects its body there. Kugugugugu. As the sea dragon swiftly flies past the half-insane Wai Yun, intoxicated by devilish energy, it stops at a spot in Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain. A corner of the sea domain where the sea has split apart. The projected form of the sea dragon rises above it. The governing Dragon Palace Lord, who has taken over the body of the former Cherry Blossom Dragon Palace, Lord Yukong. Yuk Rin's main body begins to exert its power. Kugugugugu. As he clenches his hand, the split sea of the ancient force realm begins to close very slowly. Yuk Rin, at the bottom of the split sea, communicating with his clone on Punlai Island, his eyes brighten. Is that so? It's fine. It would have been best to also obtain the devilish cult leader who cultivated Punlai's power, but there's no need to be greedy. Just obtaining what I truly desire is enough. Yuk Rin's eyes slit vertically as he looks down at Punlai Island below. As morning approaches, light gradually returns to the world. Punlai Island shines brightly as the formation takes effect, and the palace made of salt crystals at the summit of Salt Mountain at the center of Punlai Island shines brightly as well. The divine method that even the grand perfection integration stage, Cherry Blossom Dragon Palace, Lord Yuk-ung in his prime, could only achieve minor achievement in. Salt Sea returning, Dew Jade. The authority to control the hegemony of ancient force will finally be perfected today. Yuk Rin's main body projects its attraction force towards the palace made of salt crystals. Kadoodaduduk. The palace connected to Salt Mountain starts to be uprooted. Chapter 387, Salt, 5. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The entire world begins to shake. Yuk Rin smiles. It was a mistake from the start to accept the throne. Haha. If you hadn't inherited the throne, the barrier of Punlai Island would have remained firm, preventing any external forces from entering. But thanks to you taking the throne, my main body can interfere and take away the core of the barrier. He bursts into wild laughter, and I glare at him, trying to quickly connect with my main body. However, my main body is still in a comatose state, and all I can confirm is that we can't fully escape this world of illusions to exert our full strength. I advise you to go and quickly gather the ritual worship scriptures you wanted. Once the barrier breaks, the scriptures will remain in this illusory world forever, never to be obtained again. Shut up. I wonder why this bastard is babbling so much. It seems he's trying to confuse me with false information. The first thing he said is true, but everything about the ritual worship scriptures is a lie. But unfortunately for him, it doesn't affect me at all. With Yukrin's neck under my foot, I look for anyone among my comrades who can help immediately. Then my eyes meet Kim Young-hoon's. Hyungnim, can you come over? Kim Young-hoon, having just regained his senses, seems displeased with something he experienced in the illusion, indicated by his dark expression. Nevertheless, he nods. I glare at Yukrin. It seems that after we achieved the formation's objective, this guy planned to drag his main body over while we were trapped and escape with the core of the formation. I'll show you that your calculations are wrong. After exchanging glances with Kim Young-hoon, we reach out our hands into the air. As our strength gradually returns, we begin to connect with our main bodies. Connecting with the main body means we can use our chi. If we can use chi, we can use consciousness. And if we can use consciousness, all heaven, surpassing radiant. Executing the single strike of seated detachment, standing oblivion strike, is nothing. Flash. The world shakes, and Kim Young-hoon and I shoot our respective strikes towards the sky. With a blinding ray of light, we break free from the formation of Panglai Island and soar upward, meeting the gaze of Yukrin's main body under the morning sun of Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain, who is exuding attraction force towards Panglai Island. Yukrin's main body. More precisely, the direct projection of his main body looks at us and sneers. Foolish. Do you intend to oppose me? If it were your main bodies, I might have backed down, but with just these avatars, aren't you also just a projection? Haha. Do you think I would bring an ordinary projection on such an important day? Don't do anything foolish and quietly slumber in the depths of the deep sea. O Wuji Charcoal King, Wang. He laughs and calls me by the nickname Charcoal King, as if mocking me for being cast as a charcoal seller. Kim Young-hoon and I take our stances without a word. Yukrin bursts into wild laughter again. Kim Young-hoon sends me a heart message. Be careful, Eun-hyun. This Yukrin is different from last time. Kim Young-hoon, who had faced Yukrin before with the Buk-hyang fleet, warns me. Tension is etched on his face. I swallow hard as well. Do you really intend to oppose me? It is I, who has resurrected the body of Cherry Blossom Dragon Palace Lord and seized the body for myself. I have not only inherited his divine method, but also my own demon abilities I have cultivated. I have fully supplemented my true blood, and now I am no different from a completely pure sea dragon. Dear me, I didn't know the sea dragon race was such a terrifying race. You should be afraid from now on. At least in the ancient force realm. Kugugugugu. I can feel it. Even though it's just a projection, it seems to be in a state almost indistinguishable from the main body due to some secret arts. The power of Yukrin, who has taken Yukong's body, is the same as High-end EUM. Grand Perfection Integration Stage. He is on par with the Black Dragon King, High-end EUM. And so, the battle begins. Demon ability, Grand Ocean Thousandly Pearl. In an instant, Kim Young-hoon and I are trapped inside an ocean sphere with a diameter of 1,000 li. Demon ability, 300 million gene Sweetwater Peach. The pressure rises to a horrifying level, and Kim Young-hoon and I feel our bodies starting to be crushed. I warn Kim Young-hoon of the next incoming attack, and move while exchanging heart language with him. Pot. Before the demon ability 300 million gene Sweetwater Peach can swell us like soaked peaches and kill us, Kim Young-hoon and I quickly escape from the inside of the Grand Ocean Thousandly Pearl. He's coming. Got it. Kim Young-hoon prepares for the follow-up attack of the Great Ocean Thousandly Pearl, as I had informed him through heart language. Demon ability, extinguishing Misulam Raining Heavens. Chua. The Grand Ocean Thousandly Pearl explodes, and each drop of water rains down in all directions. I deflect every droplet and fly towards Yukrin, while Kim Young-hoon evades the rain and raises his saber behind Yukrin's head. In a split second, Yukrin locks eyes with me and asks, "It seems you fought the Sea Dragon race before." This is the innate demon ability engraved in the Sea Dragon True Blood. Enough to be sick of it. I feel him smirking at my response. It seems all the Sea Dragons you've met until now were half-wits. What? Is that the only impression you have when thinking of the Sea Dragon race? From now on, when you think of the Sea Dragon race, you will be overcome with fear and humiliation. Woong. A familiar light bursts from his body. Damn. Kim Young-hoon and I quickly retreat after leaving wounds on his neck and back. He is about to unleash his domain. I am the one who has reached the apex of sea dragons. Yukrin's blue scales appear to glow even bluer, and in an instant, his body swells greatly. Soon, from within Yuk Rin's scales, tides surge like the sea, his eyes turn into an enormous sun and moon, and his mane becomes a storm. Heaven Tribe cultivators from the 4-axis stage deploy a canopy around them, and when they reach the integration stage, they unfold their domain around themselves. Earth Tribe cultivators, starting from the 4-axis stage, unfold the canopy inside their bodies to enlarge their physique, and upon reaching the integration stage, they assimilate their bodies with their domains. In other words, an Earth Tribe integration stage Demon King is practically a living small dimension. On the contrary, High-End Eum, who unfolds his domain around himself despite having an Earth Tribe body, is an oddity. Yuk Rin, who has become a dragon of dimensions, begins to move. Hwang. His first target is Kim Young-hoon. His tail aims at Kim Young-hoon. Of course, Kim Young-hoon is not hit at all, but Yuk Rin's strike causes a quarter of the Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea domain to shake violently. Kagugugu. A storm arises in the direction Yuk Rin's tail swung, shaking the deep sea and submerging and collapsing the islands in that direction. Chuk. He opens his jaws towards Kim Young-hoon and I. Boom. Flash. My all-heaven sword and his surpassing radiant saber emit light, and simultaneously, the dragon race's breath, dragon wave, Lumbo, bursts forth from Yuk Rin's mouth. Jithayi freeing. For a moment, sound disappears from the world. We can feel everything behind us in the Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea domain being swept away by his dragon wave. The only intact place is directly behind where Kim Young-hoon and I had launched our strikes. Kim Young-hoon is fast, and I am free. Therefore, under normal terrain, his attacks could never reach us. However, given the nature of the ancient force realm where a sea domain is trapped in a water droplet, if Yuk Rin launches a ranged attack that encompasses the entire sea domain, there is no place to avoid even if we want to. As the light subsides, Yuk Rin immediately charges at us, bringing down his front claw. Kim Young-hoon dodges and lands 108 slashes across Yuk Rin's entire body, but the slashes fail to penetrate his body, which has become akin to a small dimension in itself. It's shallow. Kwang. His claw collides with my all-heaven sword. Quaduk. I redirect his force, grab his front paw, and throw Yuk Rin over my shoulder. Yuk Rin's massive body topples and crashes straight into the deep sea. Under normal circumstances, he would have become lost in another dimension the moment he enters the deep sea. But Yuk Rin's body, which has become a small dimension itself, does not sink despite being thrown down. Instead, he stands up on the surface of the deep sea by utilizing the characteristic of his body being made of the same dimensional attribute. Once again, he prepares another dragon wave. Kim Young-hoon and I exchange quick glances. With just our seated detachment, standing Oblivion avatars, we can only hinder him. Winning would be impossible. He'd become a puppet in less than a day of meeting Seo Huiol, but purely as a single entity sea dragon. Yuk Rin is on par with Hein Um, or perhaps even superior due to the synergy between the sea dragon race and ancient force realms dimensions. Flash. Light is about to burst from his mouth, and in the next moment, Kim Young-hoon and I simultaneously rush under his jaw and strike it upwards. Yuk Rin is strong. With just avatars, we cannot deliver a decisive blow. Moreover, because the main body is partially trapped by the energy of Palai Island, I can't summon the 3 great ultimates like I did against Jangik. So then how can we deliver a shock to this creature? Kwalong. The dragon wave he was about to unleash explodes inside his mouth. Indeed, for martial artists, defeating cultivators in this manner is the usual. We have to make him injure himself with his own power. Thinking back, the 3 great ultimates were always too powerful, so I never lacked brute force against other cultivators. It's been quite a while since I had such a unique experience. Chi-yi. Without taking my eyes off Yuk Rin, who is now emitting smoke from his mouth, I step back to prepare a major strike. Although his dragon wave exploded in his mouth, it seems that half of the explosion's power is being recirculated and absorbed back into his dimensional body. However, in that brief moment, in the instant Yuk Rin is recovering from his injury, we each take our starting form and compose our energies. Keying. The all-heavens sword hums. The surpassing radiant saber shines. The next moment, Kim Young-hoon becomes a pung bird that splits seas. My all-heavens sword becomes a storm that cleaves mountains. And then, Jium. The pung bird severs his left arm, and my all-heavens sword pierces a gaping hole in his chest dimension. Yuk Rin trembles as if in shock. Is it over? However, at the integration stage, one won't die until their entire domain is destroyed. Of course, since he's a projection, dispersing his energy beyond a certain level would usually be sufficient. But he's using the power of his main body through some secret art. In short, Yuk Rin is injured but still intact, while our energy is completely exhausted from the recent strike. Nevertheless, neither Kim Young-hoon nor I look discouraged. An avatar can only do so much. So, Shall we face you with our main bodies now, Yukrin? We have bought enough time. Our dormant main bodies have awoken. I transfer my consciousness to my main body and open my eyes in my true physical body above Penglai Island. Kim Young-hoon does the same. No, it isn't just me and Kim Young-hoon. Oh Hyun-suk, Kim Yun, Book Hyang-hwa, John Myung-hoon, and the entire Wuji religious order have awakened as well. From directly above Penglai Island, within the Twilight Domain, I reveal my 19 heads and look at Yukrin, facing my seated detachment, standing Oblivion avatar. Now then, if I defeat you, after returning to the bright cold realm, I can personally teach Hyen Iwem a lesson, right? Behind my heads, the three great ultimates rise. Quadragigic. Yukrin tries to suppress us using attraction force. But it's futile. Yet, the next moment. What? I feel the attraction force of misfortune in the sky. Kugugugugugu. At some point, the Salt Crystal Palace that had certainly been on top of Salt Mountain has been pulled up beside Yukrin. Upon closer inspection, Jean Mayol and the clone of Yukrin are each using their respective concealment technique, and Purple Soul filling the heavens next to the palace. A part of the Purple Soul filling the heavens formula that I obtained from Yukrin's mental body surfaces in my mind. Purple is the most suitable color to hide in the darkness. While Jean Mayol's concealment technique is of little use against the eyes of seated detachment, standing oblivion that Kim Young-hoon and I have, the Purple Soul filling the heavens complements the concealment technique, allowing it to hide even in the plane of soul. John Myung-hoon shouts with a sneer. What's the use of grabbing treasure right before you die? You will die here. I urgently shout. It's calamity. Right now, the great calamity of the heavens is madly sweeping down upon us. John Myung-hoon. Defend, not attack. We must protect the order. What? Quagic. Yukrin's colossal body grabs the Salt Crystal Palace with both hands. An ominous premonition peaks. I see joy rising in Yukrin's eyes. Behold, the legendary divine method of the ancient force realm, created by the immortal beast Shieji itself. Wuwong. The Salt Crystal Palace begins to shine. Salt Cna. From the palace, an endless flow of pure white light streams out, creating a white sea in the sky. Returning dew, Guiluk. The white sea in the sky coalesces into a sphere. Time seems to stand still. Even though his movements are not particularly fast, the pressure emanating from that sphere makes my entire body tremble. It isn't just me. Everyone in the Wuji religious order is visibly shaken and unable to compose themselves. The only ones who can still move are myself, who has frequently encountered transcendence, and Jean Myung-hoon, who faced heavenly punishment. Jade Heaven, Yurtan. Tzzzz. Yukrin compresses the sphere he created and swallows it. Right after, a flash of light capable of reshaping heaven and earth bursts forth from his mouth. Qua. Overcoming the pressure, I leap into the sky and unleash the power of the three great ultimates. Instinctively, I can tell. I can't perfectly block it by just cutting. The Severing Mountain swordsmanship and the All-Heaven sword, which specialize in cutting, are not suitable to block that. Then, what should I use to block it? Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter lacks firepower. Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique has sufficient firepower, but it's a method designed to trap and disassemble the target. In this situation, it is hard to use effectively. In that case, I have only one option. Chua, Yin Yang and 5 elements. The energy of 7 forces converge into one. A variant of the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique that I have yet to name properly. An inverted cone, incomprehensible to Yukrin, materializes in my hand and collides with his Salt Sea returning Dew Jade. Quadadududududuk. Drawing infinite power from the three great ultimates, my inverted cone meets his Salt Sea returning Dew Jade head-on. Chapter 388, Salt 6. Is he insane? Yukrin thinks. He can feel it. Down below, what Seo Eunhyun is emanating is undoubtedly the power of Penglai. The power of Penglai is of unknown origin, a legendary strength even within the ancient force realm. When the power of Penglai rages, the sea of the ancient force realm would resonate and amplify the power of Penglai. But that's all. Foolish. The Salt Sea returning Dew Jade is the pinnacle of the ancient force realm. No matter how powerful the power of Penglai is, it cannot prevail. It isn't mere overconfidence. Salt Sea returning Dew Jade is a divine method that exerts stronger power the purer the Salt One obtains and gathers. And what brings the Salt Sea returning Dew Jade's power to its peak is precisely the salt crystal. This precious salt crystal in his hand is not just a chunk or two, but an entire palace. At this moment, I am supreme. An almost infinite power surges from the Salt Crystal Palace, adding to Yukrin's dragon wave. However, what? The Salt Sea returning Dew Jade. It starts to be pushed back. What? Yukrin's eyes widen in disbelief. A voice comes from below, like tiny grains of salt gathering to form the sea. It's the charcoal monster. The voice comes from Co Eunhyun's mouth. It's almost like a whisper. No, it is indeed a whisper. It's merely a whisper Co Eunhyun unconsciously utters while activating his method. However, the ancient force realm is resonating and amplifying that whisper itself. Co Eunhyun's whisper seems to spread throughout the entire sea domain they are in. Build mountains through repentant enlightenment. Kugugugugu. Impossible. Don't spout nonsense. Salt Sea returning due jade. How can the salt sea returning due jade be pushed back? Building a mountain of salt is perhaps the fastest way to reach the heavens. He's being pushed back. Yuk-Rin's dragon wave is being repelled. Of course, Yuk-Rin sending out the dragon wave of salt sea returning due jade is for purposes other than defeating them, and his intention has been faithfully reflected thus far. Penglai Island, the deep sea island anchored in the depths of the deep sea, is gradually sinking even further below. And as daylight approaches, the path to Penglai Island is gradually closing. Regardless, the victor is Yuk-Rin. However, Yuk-Rin can't accept this. The salt sea returning due jade that I devoted my entire life to obtaining. Even with the pure body of a sea dragon, the salt sea returning due jade, and a massive chunk of salt crystals, am I being pushed back solely by the power of Penglai? A peculiar power, not renowned for its strength, and yet the pinnacle of the ancient force realm is being pushed back by such power. Chi 3. Dark red, devilish energy begins to emanate from his body. Yuk-Rin's life force begins to rampage. Absolutely unacceptable. I will win. My salt sea returning due jade must possess invincible power. Even if I have to sacrifice my lifespan, I will definitely win. Burning the life of the sea dragon's bloodline, he has painstakingly acquired. He lets out a dragon wave with a scream. The dragon wave imbued with the power of salt sea returning due jade grows even thicker. And then, what? Co Eunhyun's light begins to shine even brighter. Kugugugugu. For a moment, the entire ancient force realm vibrates. The center of the ancient force realm, the highest mountain in the Xieji worship region, Sea King Mountain. A pained groan echoes from the Sea King Hall at the mountain's peak, resonating throughout the entire Xieji worship region and Dao departure region. Sacred Master. Oh, Sacred Master. What is the problem? Sacred Master He Lin. The integration stage demon kings who serve Sacred Master He Lin of the ancient force realm rush to the front of the Sea King Hall, crying out to He Lin. The center of the Sea King Hall. Above the dragon throne adorned with coral. There, He Lin is trembling all over, blood pouring from his eyes. Fee. Man tra. Splut. He vomits a mouthful of blood and pants heavily. He obtained that. I see. The reason those beings of the Nether Ghost realm all fainted at once was because of that. That's why they desperately threw that into the ancient force realm. Baduduk. He bites his lip tightly. He Lin, trembling all over, shows a terrified expression. It wasn't merely obtaining the legacy of that being. To unfold it means, haha, that means. He Lin, with empty eyes, leans against the dragon throne and lets out a bitter laugh. This life is now soon to end. How futile it is. The light grows brighter. I discover a new aspect of this divine power that reverses the great mountain splitting emperor technique. Combine. We will also add our strength. Hold on, Co Eunhyun. Oh Hyun Suk, Kim Young-hoon, John Myong-hoon, Kim Yun, Buk Hyunghwa, and the entire Wuji religious order. All of them add their strength. And that power enters within the inverted cone mountain, naturally merging and further enlarging the size of the inverted cone. As the inverted cone grows larger, it pushes back the dragon wave of the salt sea returning due jade. If this continues, we can push back Yuk-Rin and achieve victory. Everyone is together. We absolutely cannot lose. Hi-ya-ya. The dragon wave of the salt sea returning due jade, opposing all our combined strength, gradually thins, and finally, the dragon wave disappears. Huh. H-ya-ya. I see a hand emerging from behind Yuk-Rin. It's a hand covered in scales. Kuguguguk. And just like that, our power, which was about to soar into the sky after crushing the remnants of the salt sea returning due jade, is completely suppressed by the hand. Quadudaduk. When Twilight Domain entered Penglai Island, it remained floating inside the barrier of Penglai Island. This is because even if we all fall asleep, the floating formation remains activated. However, rendering the floating formation meaningless, the Twilight Domain plummets, crashing onto the land of Penglai Island. Under the merciless attraction force, we all kneel, and the divine power that reverses the great mountain-splitting emperor technique shatters and vanishes. At the same time, Penglai Island sinks deeper into the deep sea due to the attraction force of the hand. I look at the sky with a dumbfounded face. The path through the deep sea that we used to enter is completely closed. All that is visible around is the endless deep sea and the countless dimensional fragments within it. No, there is one more thing. It's a massive flow of misfortune that envelopes me to the point of despair. Quang. I strike Penglai Island as if to crush the ground. Heavens above. Due to the sudden appearance of a hand, the entire Wuji religious order and Penglai Island are trapped within the depths of the deep sea. Yuk Rin stares blankly at the sea. Was that Sacred Master He Lin? It was a close call. If it hadn't been for the sudden strike by Sacred Master He Lin, he couldn't have predicted what would have happened with the power of Penglai rising from below. Though they don't seem to be dead, the entire Wuji religious order is trapped in the deep sea. There is no way to escape. Thank you for your help, Sacred Master. Yuk Rin bows deeply in the direction where the Sacred Master's hand had appeared. There is no reply from He Lin. The hand vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. Ha! Congratulations, Governing Dragon Palace Lord. Not only have you regained your position, you have also achieved your long-held wish. As promised, please share a part of the Salt Crystal with us. Jean Mayol, who helped Yuk Rin raise the Salt Crystal Palace, appears and speaks to him. Yuk Rin looks at Jean Mayol for a moment and then opens his mouth. Activate. Purple soul filling the heavens. Chwak. It happens in an instant. Jean Mayol's pupils seem to be dyed purple. However, even as Jean Mayol is being eroded by purple soul filling the heavens, he swings his arm. Blong. Shakwang. A huge wound appears on Yuk Rin's body, exhausted from using salt sea returning dew jade. With a face full of ecstasy, Jean Mayol grabs a handful of Yuk Rin's blood and throws it somewhere, while Yuk Rin smacks Jean Mayol with his forepaw. Quang. Jean Mayol's entire body explodes. Yuk Rin's attack continues. No matter how exhausted he is, the attacks are from a grand perfection integration stage to an early integration stage opponent. Before long, Jean Mayol's domain explodes, and all his body parts are torn apart, leaving only his head intact. Yet, Jean Mayol laughs. Ha ha ha. As expected, you were hiding purple soul filling the heavens, Governing Dragon Palace Lord. But I must thank you. Thanks to you, I've learned how to use purple soul filling the heavens. I've obtained your blood, so all that remains is, only. Jean Mayol's head speaks as it loses its vitality. Unaging and undying. Yuk Rin looks at the spot where Jean Mayol disappeared with an expressionless face, then with an irritated expression, exerts attraction force on the Salt Crystal Palace. Kugaguk. Yukyo is dragged out. The purple soul filling the heavens that Yuk Rin cast on Jean Mayol transferred to Yukyo. Is it a curse? That damn Jean Mayol. He succeeded in kidnapping Yukyo last time and turned her into a cursed doll in that short period. Yuk Rin clicks his tongue and withdraws the secret art embedded in Yukyo's mind. From his perspective, devouring Yukyo will only be a loss. After roughly throwing Yukyo inside the Salt Crystal Palace, he sneers slyly. Stupid fool. What good is it to obtain purple soul filling the heavens? What good is it to take my blood and learn the dragon form disguise method? You'll never be able to learn it anyway. Ah. Yuk Rin's gaze turns towards the end of Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain. There, the salt-boned ship is submerging beneath the sea surface. Jean Mayol, who has likely revived, is probably inside. Bothersome fellow. But with this, he has likely lost his last chance at revival. He thought he could achieve unaging and undying with purple soul filling the heavens and bet his life on it. But what expression will he make when he realizes it's all just an illusion? I'm curious. Yuk Rin chuckles. From the betrayal King Jean Wei to the terrifying Wuji religious order and the devilish cult leader. And Jean Mayol, who always intended to backstab from the start. Having defeated all of them, Yuk Rin is the ultimate victor. Yet, even though Yuk Rin defeated the rivals who threatened him, even though he obtained the long-desired Salt Crystal Palace, his laughter diminishes. The sound of chuckling soon turns to silence, and the Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain, where the majority of living beings have perished as the battle's aftermath, is enveloped in silence. Although victorious, Yuk Rin cannot find joy. Salt Sea returning Dew Jade was pushed back. This realization scratches the pride of Yuk Rin, who has always believed the Salt Sea returning Dew Jade to be invincible. Baduduk. After grinding his teeth for a while, Yuk Rin takes the Salt Crystal Palace and heads towards Governing Dragon Island. While giving the return order to Wai Yun and organizing various plans for the future, Yuk Rin decides on the first task to undertake. Refine the palace of Penglai Kingdom and completely turn it into my natal Dharma treasure. Then integrate it with my domain to make it a refining void Dharma treasure, Lanshu, Fabak. Based on that, if I can achieve great completion in Salt Sea returning Dew Jade, I will truly reach the pinnacle. However, despite comforting himself, the darkness does not leave Yuk Rin's face. Sea King Hall. At its center, He Lin trembles with blood dripping from his eyes. Though it was a rather rough method, I assisted that being's successor according to your will. This is the best I can do. Now, I will strive to seek a way to survive. Please protect your descendant, Grandfather He Nyong. Translator notes. Mantras also mean true words. Subscriptions for RTOC are now available. Chapter 389, Drink 1. Chua. A sound reminiscent of waves. The sound of dimensions flowing can be heard. I look around with vacant eyes. After Yuk Rin uprooted the Salt Crystal Palace, the illusion formation collapsed. And, for some reason, the various ritual worship scriptures and treasures I was aiming for were all inside that palace, making them impossible to find. In other words, the axis of love of virtue is beyond reach. Of course, due to what Yuk Rin said at the end, I suspect there might be a trap involved in obtaining treasures from the palace, but being denied even the chance to confirm the trap is quite disheartening. We look at the sky with empty eyes, and then, after organizing the Twilight Domain and the followers that have fallen on one side of Penglai Island, we gather in one place. Or rather, not everyone gathers. There's also missing persons. Wei Shirhan reports a missing person in a gloomy voice. The 13th Guardian Ghost King, my friend, Baek Rin, has disappeared. At the last moment, I believe he was seen flying towards Princess Yuk Yo inside the palace. Since the palace itself was taken by Yuk Rin, perhaps Baek Rin is now captured by Yuk Rin. Baek Rin has gone missing. From what was said, it seems he got caught by Yuk Rin while trying to rescue Yuk Yo. I let out a deep sigh. The journey to Penglai Island has cost us too much. In addition to the missing persons, we try to discuss the details of the incident. Shaya, the meeting room is silent. Yun Wei, John Myung-hoon, Oh Hyun-suk and the others seem dispirited by the unpleasant and gloomy dreams they had on Penglai Island. Or, some are so dumbfounded or frustrated by the current situation that they can't even open their mouths. It seems like no one is in the mood to open their mouths. However, I force myself to speak. We can't just sit down and wallow in our gloom. Perhaps Yun Wei knows this too, as she and I exchange opinions. What are we going to do now? For now, we have to try to escape. Do you have any plans? Young-hoon Hyung-nim and I left avatars at the sea surface. They're Heart Tribe avatars that can communicate with us in real time. Yun Wei strokes her chin as if pondering before asking. Not escaping with it immediately means there's a problem, right? Yes. First, the Heart Tribe avatars itself have exhausted a lot of energy in the battle with Yuk Rin. Currently, they're hiding for fear of being discovered by Yuk Rin and aren't in a state to do anything. Moreover, even if we use attraction force on both sides to pull us up, we've come in too deep. Yes, the attraction force won't reach. The deep sea of the ancient force realm is a collection of dimensions. Even though it seems like we haven't actually descended that far, between the sea surface and our current position is not seawater but dimensions. To escape, we have to extend attraction force through countless dimensions. Only those in the star-shattering stage can emit such attraction force. Yunwei looks at Kim Young-hoon and speaks. I heard the surpassing radiant divine demon is communicating with the heaven-collapsing esteemed one, no? Can't we get some help from the heaven-collapsing esteemed one? Kim Young-hoon shakes his head awkwardly. I apologize, but what I'm doing right now is communing with the enlightenment of that esteemed one, not communicating. In terms of communication, perhaps Seo Eun-hyun might be better. Yunwei's gaze shifts back to me. However, I also shake my head. To help us, an avatar of the heaven-collapsing esteemed one would have to come here personally. But from what I know, it will take the heaven-collapsing esteemed one more than several hundred years to get here. Several hundred years, that's worth waiting for. She nods. However, my expression is dark. In just 100 years or so from now, Kong Min-hee will go berserk. Furthermore, the day when Seo Huiol regains his eye is also only a few hundred years away. Being trapped here until then is the worst choice possible. There's no way to get out a bit faster, is there? If we create a thunder beast, it might be possible right away. No, thank you. Yeah, I don't like that idea either. So, is there another method? I sigh. There's no method that comes to mind immediately. For now, since things have come to this, I will try to contact the Grand Cultivator Association. Even if we are stuck in the deep sea and unable to rise to the surface, there might be a way to somehow escape the ancient force realm entirely. Contacting the Grand Cultivator Association to have us all escape to the bright cold realm might be a solution. Yunwei nods, saying it's a good idea, and then asks us if anyone has gained anything from Penglai Island. Even though we're trapped now, according to Seo Eun-hyun, there's hope since the heaven-collapsing esteemed one might come in a few hundred years. In that case, rather than despairing and sitting down, we should see if we've gained anything from Penglai Island. Has anyone gained anything from investigating Penglai Island? Everyone shakes their heads at her words. Seo Ran clicks his tongue and speaks. I thought there might be some secret on the salt mountain of Penglai Island, but it's just a real salt mountain. A literal lump of salt, nothing more. So it's not a special mineral like salt crystals? Then what about the ritual worship scriptures we primarily aimed for when we came here? I let out a deep sigh and say, from what I can see, those ritual worship scriptures are, it's then. Kim Yun, with a bitter expression, pulls something from her bosom. It's a copy of the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue. When the formation broke, Qianghua and I hurried to the library to gather the ritual worship scriptures. But for some reason, the only one left in my hands is this ritual worship scripture of love of virtue. The rest of the scriptures disappeared like smoke. I widened my eyes at the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue, and Yunwei sighs with regret. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to arm all our order's leaders with the 5 blessings axes. There's nothing we can do. At least the cult leader can build the 5 blessings axes, so we should take comfort in that. Kim Yun floats the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue towards me, and I catch it. Although the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue has clearly entered my hands through Kim Yun, I can't shake off a lingering unease. This is due to what Yukrin's clone said to me after escaping from Purple Soul filling the heavens. I advise you to go and quickly gather the ritual worship scriptures you wanted. Once the barrier breaks, the scriptures will remain in this illusory world forever, never to be obtained again. Surprisingly, that was a lie. And when I think about which part of that statement is false, it seems the whole thing is a lie from start to finish. The bastard was certain that even if I went to the library to gather the scriptures, I would never be able to obtain them. Yet Kim Yun has acquired a ritual worship scripture. Is there some secret to this? I should observe the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue Kim Yun obtained for now, rather than hastily practicing it. After publicly commending Kim Yun, I tucked the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue into my bosom. We continue to discuss a few escape methods before adjourning the meeting and returning to our respective places. I return to the basement of the Wuji religious hall and try to activate the flying immortal formation. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the flying immortal formation connecting to the lower realms. After fiddling with the flying immortal formation for a while, I rack my brain while pondering over the Grand Cultivator Association. Will they really let me return? It'd be fortunate if they don't throw a party celebrating the confinement of the Heart Tribe spy. Here is the supervisory mirror, Master. I received the supervisory mirror from Hong Fan. It's a supervisory mirror I obtained along with a salt crystal at Yukrin's palace when I conquered governing Dragon Island. I infused spiritual power into the supervisory mirror. As the spiritual power flows in, the supervisory mirror begins to emit light, a tool that can re-establish contact with a world with which one has formed connections in. That is the supervisory mirror. Why Yang? The supervisory mirror shines brilliantly, projecting a multitude of light clusters inside. The moment I sense the aura emanating from these light clusters, I immediately know which worlds they symbolize. This is the Nether Ghost Realm, this is the Lightning Sacred Sea, this is Ham Jin's world, and these are the astral realms where I had sent my consciousness while building the axis. Among them, a familiar light catches my eye. I reach out toward that light. Woo-woo. A familiar, clear sky is reflected beyond the supervisory mirror. Bright Cold Realm. It's a familiar scene from the Bright Cold Realm. The name of the world, Bright Cold, appears above the supervisory mirror. I spend some time manipulating the supervisory mirror, learning to infuse my consciousness and adjust it to observe specific locations. Woo-woo. After manipulating the supervisory mirror for a while, I am able to project the heavenly cauldron mountain of the human race Grand Alliance. Why Yang? The supervisory mirror flickers as it quickly shows the front of Jun Jae's cave residence at the edge of Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. From inside his cave residence, a heavy voice emerges. Which Taoist is spying on this alliance leader? I infuse my consciousness into the supervisory mirror and greet him warmly. Taoist Jun, it's me, Xiao Unhyun. I laugh heartily and briefly explain the situation to him. I tell him that due to some complicated matters, I ended up in the Ancient Force realm and request the Grand Cultivator Association to provide coordinates and attraction force to pull us back. After listening to my explanation, Jun Jae seems to mutter in a low voice before speaking. I understand, Grand Cultivator CEO. Please wait a little while. I will contact you again soon. Haha. I'm really grateful, Taoist. I won't forget this. However, I'm not entirely in a good mood. I can't tell what he's thinking. Since intent isn't reflected in the scene seen through the supervisory mirror, I can't be sure if Jun Jae's words are genuine or if he's secretly cheering. After expressing my gratitude to Jun Jae, and just as I am about to make a few more requests, the screen suddenly distorts, and the connection with the Bright Cold Realm is severed. I immediately realize what happened. Jun Jae had shaken the space with attraction force, abruptly severing the connection of the supervisory mirror. I am so dumbfounded that I clench my teeth. Jun Jae is the head of the Grand Cultivator Association. His will is the will of the Grand Cultivator Association. I realize that the Grand Cultivator Association has not even the slightest intention to rescue me, and I grind my teeth. Damn it. What am I supposed to do now that it's come to this? Although the supervisory mirror is operated through consciousness, it only transmits a few voices and scenes, so I can't send a seated detachment, standing oblivion avatar through it. I grab my throbbing head and contemplate for a long time. While doing so, I feel a peculiar energy above the supervisory mirror and turn my gaze toward it. This is, for some reason, a familiar aura is shining from above the supervisory mirror. Of course, it would be familiar since it only shows places I've been to, but it's strange. This is like, the light seems to resonate subtly with the ancient force realm. From within the light, I can faintly hear the sound of waves. Woo-woo. For some reason, one of my axes, the health axis, vibrates and resonates intensely. I forget my irritation about the Grand Cultivator Association ignoring me and reach out to the light as if entranced. And then, woo-woo, I can see a very familiar scene. Woo-woo, a burning world. The endlessly burning monsters within, the remnants of collapsed civilizations scattered around. Rivers and basins that were once thought to be full of water, and the name of the great world embracing it all. The scroll of Lofty Dragon, envoy of health and care, appears above the supervisory mirror. The storage scroll of Lofty Dragon. Clench. I grab the supervisory mirror and shout. Tremble, tremble. I feel a shiver run through my body from an inexplicable sense of anticipation. Once one reaches a realm that can handle attraction force, a cultivator's intuition is akin to foresight. I infuse the supervisory mirror with consciousness, wearing a dumbfounded expression. Woo-woo. The screen of the supervisory mirror appears to distort, and then the supervisory mirror enters the altar of the care layer. In other words, it goes up the altar connecting with the Xieji worship layer. Wai-yang. I feel the vibration of the health axis resonating with the aura of the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon reach its peak. In my memory, Xiao Hui's actions come to mind. I lift the health axis above my hand as Xiao Hui did, and twist the attraction force as Xiao Hui had done. Flash. The power of health is reflected in the supervisory mirror. Health axis, release. Quong click. Simultaneously, the sound of a latch or lock being opened spreads out from above the supervisory mirror, echoing throughout Penglai Island. Chapter 390, Drink, 2. I gaze entranced at the scenery beyond the supervisory mirror. This is, woo-woo. As I reach out my hand beyond the supervisory mirror, it feels as if my consciousness is being drawn towards the altar of the care layer inside the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. Sutsatut. And after some time, when I open my eyes, I realize I am standing on the altar of the care layer with a dream body. Ha ha. I let out a hollow laugh at the unexpected situation. Without hesitation, I aim a seated detachment, standing oblivion single strike into the air to form an avatar. Wai-yang. Pasak. No, to be precise, I try to form one. However, due to a strange force within the storage scroll, the clone tries to form before crumbling away. There seems to be some inherent restriction within this other world. In that case, there's nothing to be done. I reach out my hand into the air, attempting to emit attraction force. Woo-woo. However, both attraction force and other abilities cannot be properly exerted with the dream body. My power has weakened to about 1/10,000th. Of course, even this much is equivalent to the power of chi refining or chi building, but that's all. After contemplating for a moment, I recall the characteristics of the dream body and, using the power of chi building, gather the surrounding water energy to form water, freeze it, and create an ice puppet. Then, I overlay my dream body onto the body of the ice puppet. Sutsatut. Its possession. While inside the ice puppet body, I try to exert my power. It's a bit easier to use my power now. The dream body is a result of temporarily refining my consciousness to have the traits of a ghost king. It's essentially a consciousness entity that exists only in the outskirts of the nether ghost realm, so to manifest power in reality, possessing an entity in the present world is the best method. Kugaguk. Borrowing the body of the ice puppet, I try to exert attraction force. It works, the space is warping. Now, by using the body of this ice puppet as a coordinate, I just need to create attraction force between the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person and the deep sea of the ancient force realm to escape. Just then, Passasac. The puppet's body crumbles instantly. Apparently, something as fragile as ice can't withstand my power for long. This is a bit troublesome. Clicking my tongue, I try various methods, such as growing trees using wood attribute spells or creating earth golems using earth attribute spells. However, the results are all the same. Damn it. The main body's power has grown too strong, resulting in the puppets often breaking when emitting attraction force. There's only one solution. I need to create a general CO. But there's a problem. In this storage scroll, there are surprisingly no materials available. That's because everything that could be used as material had been burned away in the blazing storage scroll. There are some stone buildings that don't burn easily, but that's all. Even if I make a puppet from such material, the best result would only be equivalent to around the grand perfection nascent soul level. Can a nascent soul level puppet bridge the space between the far distant ancient force realm and this storage scroll and let us escape? No matter how I think about it, it's impossible. However, as I ponder for a moment, one thought comes to mind. In about 100 years, they will come. In about 100 years, it will be around the 500th year since I regressed. And around that time, 2 cultivators of the 4-axis stage from the Heaven tribe and 1 from the Earth tribe will enter the storage scroll. The Tall Tree race, Paired Wings race, and the Blood Shark races Gyo-Yom. My eyes brighten as I recall them. I will seize their bodies. If I possess one of them, I can properly use attraction force to use this storage scroll as coordinates and pull the Twilight Domain into the bright cold realm. I recall Gyo-Yom, who had his limbs severed and died at Seo Huiol's hands in my previous life. In any case, even without Seo Huiol, Gyo-Yom is fated to die at the hands of the Tall Tree race and the Paired Wings race. Gyo-Yom's actions to find the heavenly lotus fruit to cure his wife's illness left a strong impression on me. I hope he can live in this life if possible. I make my decision. In the expedition team that will come to the storage scroll in about 100 years, I will help Gyo-Yom and give him the heavenly lotus fruit he desires, and with his help, return to the bright cold realm. Clench. I clench my fist with even my main body and smile. I thought there was no hope, but hope appeared. Until the storage scroll expedition team arrives, I should gather the treasures within the storage scroll. Gyo-Yom will hardly be inclined to trust a stranger like me at first glance. Therefore, to receive his help, it will be ideal to have the treasures in the storage scroll in my possession to offer him for a deal. At the end of the day, a contract is something that can only be made if I have something to offer. Don't pluck the heavenly lotus fruit in advance. Thanks for the advice. It is said that the heavenly lotus fruit has the trait of immediately being absorbed upon touching an illusion. In short, if I picked it ahead of time thinking I was gathering treasures, it would be absorbed into my dream body, and I wouldn't be able to offer it to Gyo-Yom in a transaction. I nod and look around the interior of the storage scroll. Only I am inside the storage scroll. In other words, all the treasures within this storage scroll are solely mine. I smile, shifting my main consciousness back to my main body. I see hope. Now, within decades, the possibility of returning to the bright cold realm has emerged. I return with satisfaction and convey this joyous news to everyone. Underscore. That's very good. So all we have to do now is wait. As long as nothing particularly disruptive occurs, that is. In the conference room, I continue speaking with a bitter smile to Yunwei. But as I have mentioned before, it is true that some kind of misfortune is surrounding us. I look up at the sky. Even if Gyo-Yom were to pull us out, and despite being trapped in the deep sea, the attraction force of misfortune still clings to me. That misfortune is tightly coiled around Penglai Island. When I speak seriously, Yunwei also asks with a hardened face. Saying you see misfortune even in the ancient force realm wasn't a joke. I always speak the truth. Ancestor, it seems you need to learn to trust your juniors. John Myung-hoon says with a smirk, and Yunwei clicks her tongue and shakes her head. I don't believe anything unless I've seen it myself. I've never heard of such a thing being possible. It might be possible if it were a sacred vessel stage that can extend their consciousness or sight beyond the middle realms, but that's absolutely impossible. Was the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect turning to ashes overnight something possible? At John Myung-hoon's gloomy words, Yunwei is rendered speechless, her expression becoming somber. Well, I understand for now. So, you're saying that some higher existence has marked you, and because of the attraction force of that misfortune, everyone here, including the Wuji religious order, could be trapped on Penglai Island. That's about right. Yunwei seems to contemplate for a moment before speaking. Then you should leave Penglai Island. What the? Her words suddenly cause an uproar in the conference room. Strategist Yunwei, do you know that going outside Penglai Island means becoming lost in the deep sea? I'm speaking with that understanding. Once we receive the coordinates from those 4-axis cultivators who enter that storage scroll or whatever other world, Seo Eun-hyun staying in the ancient force realm while we escape first seems to be the best course of action. At her words, Kim Yun, Oh Hyun-suk, Kim Young-hoon, and even John Myung-hoon show fierce expressions. However, Yunwei glares at everyone unperturbed and growls. Did I speak incorrectly? Seo Eun-hyun is the leader and the person in charge of this group. If the leader is the problem causing the group to be stuck, then the person who must take responsibility should do so. Just like when I received the Sacred Master's command and annihilated the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the Middle Realm 40,000 years ago with my own hands to save at least the main sect in the lower realm, and bore the stigma of being a monster. Quong. Yunwei slams the table with bloodshot eyes. If you've taken on the position of leader and elder of the group, it's only right that you act accordingly. Kugugugugu. With her words, a chilling killing intent begins to fill the conference room. John Myung-hoon's eyes twitch as he speaks. If that is the case, then instead of Seo Eun-hyun, a 4-axis without even the integrated Dao domain, I, at the integration stage, will remain. At that, Yunwei's eyes flip. What kind of nonsense is that? Didn't you hear Seo Eun-hyun's words? He claimed that only he is entangled with misfortune. By combining my red lightning heavenly tribulation method and Seo Eun-hyun's extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique, it will be possible for me to take on Seo Eun-hyun's misfortune through a sacrificial offering. After all, red lightning heavenly tribulation and extinguishing divine tribulating heavens are techniques based on someone's sacrifice, so it's not an impossible idea. Don't speak such nonsense. You are the current highest elder of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Seo Fellow and I are outsiders, stripped of the Jin surname by the founder's command. But you are also Jin Myung-hoon. If you stay here, what will become of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the lower realm? However, after uttering her words, Yunwei glances around as if startled by her own words. The killing intent has intensified. Kugugugugu. At the center of the Twilight Domain, the entire Wuji religious hall is being violently shaken by the killing intent of the beings gathered there. John Myung-hoon speaks softly. So it seems the ancestors' words mean that although I, Jin Myung-hoon, born with the heavenly golden thunder body, must not stay, Seo Eun-hyun, who is already an outsider, can remain. Seo Eun-hyun. Is he not someone who has been with the ancestor all along, and a comrade who contributed to the survival of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect? Wasn't it thanks to the Wuji religious order established by Seo Eun-hyun that we could save the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the Nether Ghost Realm? Yunwei's pupils seem to shake at John Myung-hoon's retort. However, she grits her teeth and instead shouts at John Myung-hoon. What nonsense are you spewing? Have you become engrossed in playing this cult leader and religious order act that you've forgotten the essence? This ridiculous pseudo-religious cult is just a means to accumulate the 5 blessings axis, and you are a disciple of the great Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Even if Seo Eun-hyun and I are expelled, we should have a sense of belonging to the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. What's with this cult leader game? What's with this absurd pseudo-religious cult act? Why does the ancestor not trust Seo Eun-hyun? Have you forgotten that he worked together with Senior to save the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect? In the end, Seo Eun-hyun's words were proven right. I heard about Senior's actions even in the ancient Force realm. I heard about Senior's past while interrogating Yuk Rin with the ascetic lightning curse banner. Why can't Senior trust in human loyalty and always resort to betrayal? We are the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, not the Betrayal Heavenly Thunder sect. At John Myung-hoon's heated words, Yunwei momentarily has a dazed expression on her face. With her voice choked and her chest trembling, she bites her lip. Yes, it's about Seo Eun-hyun and I. And sealing the heavenly lightning banner was my claim. It wasn't Seo's. Why can't I trust him? Want me to tell you my honest feelings? Yunwei's voice is trembling. Left with only bitterness in her emotional struggle with John Myung-hoon, she grinds her teeth and shouts. How can I possibly trust that guy? It's understandable for someone like you with the heavenly golden thunder body to progress rapidly in cultivation. But what about him? He ascended from ascension path alone with a mortal body, and within 500 years, with ordinary 5 elements spiritual roots, reached the 5 blessings 4-axis stage. Do you think that even makes sense? Why not? With talent. Such talent is only possible with a heavenly golden thunder body, a ghostly Een transformation immortal root. I'm saying that it's impossible without such mythical qualities. He's not even like that fellow with a unique holy body. His talent isn't good, and his understanding doesn't even seem exceptional. Yet, he's learned heaven and earth dual cultivation and the heart path method. On top of that, he's learned Han One's great mountain splitting emperor technique, all within 500 years. Even the Black Dragon King Hien Eum, who advanced at a similar speed, did so with the support of the dragon race and countless opportunities. But what about him? I've heard he resisted the temptation of the unsealed heavenly lightning banner with a clear mind. Do you think that's possible? It's a power that no mortal mind can withstand, yet he thrives after being exposed to such transcendent power? Now, there's a possible explanation for everything I said. It's that he's not human. Yunwei points at me and shouts. Without a heavenly golden thunder body, he mastered lightning attribute methods faster than John Myung-hoon. Without a ghostly Een transformation immortal root, he possesses insane talent in the ghost path methods. Not only has he learned all 5 elements methods and even demon beast methods along with the heart path method, He even has remarkable insights into consciousness methods. And what about that mysterious bizarre goose secret art similar to what those blood-eaten realm spies use? Moreover, he resisted the power of the transcendent heavenly lightning banner with a clear mind? For that to be possible, he must be an entity hiding his cultivation and wearing human skin, pretending to be human. I'm saying he must be a true immortal. With Yunwei's words, the conference room falls silent. She looks at me with gloomy eyes and speaks to John Myung-hoon. Did you ask why I always betray? Because if I don't betray, I might be betrayed instead. Always. If you can't determine right now whether that guy is human or a monster, it wouldn't be surprising if one day he reveals himself as a transcendence incarnation and exterminates us all. If that's the case, isn't it rational to separate him from us here? Life never goes as you wish, never. The very essence of evil is the bastard called life itself. This world is, yes, it's a world filled with the 6 extremes. Dreaming for something or hoping for blessings is a luxury in itself. You must never hope for anything. You must always prepare for the worst and be ready to survive. That's what I'm saying. She is hurling harsh words at me, yet ironically, I am the only one in this room who genuinely empathizes with her. The followers like the guardian ghost kings who are loyal to me seem ready to tear Yunwei apart at any moment, and none of the executives of the order are giving Yunwei a kind glance. With a bitter smile, I speak. So what is the reason for saying all that in front of me? If I were a transcendent like a true immortal, it would be nothing to drag your soul and torture it for 1,000 years, wouldn't it? Yunwei flinches, but doesn't respond to my words. John Myung-hoon briefly returned the strategist's main consciousness to the lower realm. All right. John Myung-hoon immediately approaches Yunwei, strikes her at the back of her neck to make her unconscious, and sends Yunwei's consciousness down to the lower realm. Yunjin, who awakes after Yunwei faints, seems unable to grasp the situation and just shivers in the tense atmosphere. I smile gently and say, don't hate her too much. She is only worried about all of our safety in her own way. Yunwei feigns malice, but in reality, her intentions are always rooted in goodness. It's just, she was influenced by the dream she had on Punlai Island, which seems to have made her emotions flare up a bit. There's no need for John Myung-hoon or Yunwei to push each other excessively like that. However, whatever it is, the dream she had on Punlai Island seems to be the problem. For now, let's adjourn today's meeting here. Now that there's hope of leaving the ancient force realm in about 100 years, everyone should keep that in mind. I adjourn the meeting and rise from my seat. Underscore Step. After leaving the conference room, I walk towards the salt mountain on Punlai Island. The Punlai Island, without the illusion formation, is desolate. In the illusion, Punlai Kingdom flourished around Salt Mountain, but outside the illusion, only hinges can be seen around it. Thud. I climb to the top of Salt Mountain, where the Salt Crystal Palace once stood, and sit down, gazing at the upper part of Punlai Island. The misfortune that is entwining me does not enter inside Punlai Island. Of course, it will surely have a terrifying effect when we go outside, but at least it can't enter here. Within Punlai Island, all contracts and oaths are nullified. It's the explanation given by Yuk Rin and Yuk Yo. Perhaps that misfortune, too, falls into a similar category as contracts and oaths. Furthermore, the reason I told everyone there's hope of leaving despite still being entangled in misfortune is because of Punlai Island. The fact that some power on Punlai Island is blocking the misfortune means that if we can just find that power, we can avoid the misfortune and go to the bright cold realm. And the source of that power is, most likely, this salt mountain. Everyone believes the true source is the Salt Crystal Palace. After all, this salt mountain is merely a large chunk of rock salt. However, the formation of Punlai Island still functions. Even though the illusion formation broke when the palace and salt mountain separated, a certain force blocking external contracts, oaths, and misfortune remains. In other words, if the power of this salt mountain is harnessed, there's a high probability that everyone can leave. I adjourn the meeting for now because the atmosphere was too bad today. I plan to inform everyone of this fact during a later meeting when Yunwei returns with a cool head. Wawoom. Sitting at the top of Salt Mountain, I close my eyes, operating the purple soul filling the heavens obtained from Yuk Rin, the salt sea returning dew jade obtained from Lofty Dragon True Person Storage Scroll, and the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique and its reversed secret art. Why did Yunwei, other than the dream on Punlai Island, and because of John Myung-hoon, fail to control her emotions and reveal uncomfortable truths despite the possibility of me being the incarnation of a true immortal? It's simple. Even though she said with her own mouth that nothing in this world should be hoped for, she is hoping. Hoping that I, who has been with her for so long, is actually human. TSDSDSTSTSD. White grains begin to swirl and shine around me. Every time I recite the formula of the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique and its reversed method, the entire salt mountain begins to glow little by little. The time left is about 100 years. Within that time, I will obtain the power of Salt Mountain and definitely overcome the misfortune to return to the bright cold realm.